Welcome to the Northwest Sports Fanatics YouTube channel. I'm your host, Orion. I got a great show for you here today. We got the Houston Astros versus the Seattle Mariners. First pitch is going to be here in roughly 5 minutes. So let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into the starting lineups. Happy Friday, everyone. And on the thumb, on the left, Houston's very own Jose Altuve. And on the right, the best center fielder in the game, it's J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez. Now let's get into the starting lineups here first for the visiting Houston Astros. Leading off for the Astros at shortstop, Jeremy Pena. Batting second, playing left field, Yordan Alvarez. Batting third, DHing today for Houston, Jose Altuve. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, second baseman, Isaac Paredes. Batting fifth, playing first base, Christian Walker. Batting sixth, playing third base, Carlos Correa. Batting seventh, playing right field, Cam Smith. Batting eighth, playing center field, Joey Loperfido. And batting ninth, catching today for H-Town, Christian Vasquez. And on the mound for the Astros with a 1-0 record, an ERA of 4.32, Tetsuya Imai. And now let's get into the starting lineups for your Seattle Mariners. Leading off for the Mariners at shortstop, it's J.P. Crawford. And if everyone is wondering where is Brendan Donovan, he's dealing with an illness. Hopefully we'll be back for tomorrow's game, and we wish him well. Is there a chance that Donovan ends up pinch hitting, late in this game? It's possible, but I'm pretty sure they're trying to give him the day off to recover. Batting second, catching today for Seattle, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Batting third, playing center field, it's Julio Rodriguez. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, first baseman, it's Nails, Josh Naylor. Batting fifth, playing left field, Randy Arozarena. Batting sixth, playing right field, Luke Raley. Batting seventh, playing second base, Cole Young. Batting eighth, DHing for Seattle, it's the Italian stallion, Dominic Canzone. And batting ninth, playing third base for Brendan Donovan, Leo Rivas. And on the mound for the Mariners with a 1-1 record, an ERA of .71, it is Emerson Hancock. Tridents up. Let's go, Ems. We know things have not gone well for the Astros and the Mariners as of late. We want to break that losing streak. Houston 4 in a row, Seattle 5 in a row. Something's got to give. We know Cole Young has been absolutely fantastic on both sides of the ball. And with no Donnie available, at least at the beginning of the game, we're going to need everyone to step up. And obviously we have the City Connect theme here today with a new background as well. Got to make it happen here tonight. We'll be shooting for 100 likes, 100 on that Dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. And we're only 15 subs away from 23,700. I have a good feeling we're going to hit that number here today. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. And we got a few new ones that we're going to be debuting here tonight. Hope everyone is having a fantastic day. Navi in the building, what's good? Logan in the building, what's good? Roy in the building, what's good? Let's break this losing streak and let's start a winning streak. Logan getting us started off on a good foot. Here we go, $5 holla, 95 to go to hit the first Dono goal. Appreciate you very, very much. We're at 5:95 to go. Daniel in the building, what's good? Marine Bean in the building, what's good? Eugene in the building, what's good? And shout out to my best friend Justin, who's messaging me right now at the game with his pops. Very excited, for the opportunity. Trident's up, let's go M's. Let me see if I can send him a quick message here back. But he's sending me photos of his seat, as well as everything that's going on there at the moment. All right, let's get situated here. First pitch from Emerson Hancock to Jeremy Pena, 1-0 count. One-0 pitch, fouls it off himself. 1 ball and 1 strike to Jeremy Pena. I'm just waiting on everything to get refreshed on my end here, and we should be good to go. Hope everyone is having a fantastic day. 1-1 pitch, little blooper into shallow right field. Luke Raley is there, and that is 1 away. Come on, ESPN, wake up. The game has started. And again, sometimes, ESPN falls asleep, but hopefully they'll be able to get this updated and going here already since the game has already started. I don't know why they're lacking, but, it seems like a regular thing. And as soon as they end up getting everything refreshed, obviously, that'll be updated above my head here on the scoreboard as well. First pitch in there to Yordan Alvarez, in there for a strike, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike. There we go. About damn time. Hold on, give me 1 sec here. They're slipping when they don't even have it up when the first out has already been made for either the Astros or the Mariners. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Yordan Alvarez. All right, we're good to go now, finally, with the scoreboard. Looks like someone from ESPN decided to actually work today at their job. 1-2 pitch, and that one is crushed out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Yordan Alvarez. Cal is behind the plate. Brendan Donovan is dealing with an illness, so he's not to start the game. Is there a chance that we may see him, later in the matchup? It's possible, but I'm pretty sure they're going to give him the day off to fully recover. He wasn't really feeling too good in that last game against the Rangers as well. Pitch outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes to Yordan Alvarez. Cutter 85 miles an hour there by Emerson Hancock. And again, my best friend Justin is there with his dad today and tomorrow. 2-2 pitch, hit into deep center field. Julio is there. No fly zone in effect, and that is 2 away. Nice job there by Julio Rodriguez getting the job done. And, I felt like we had to do something a little bit different, so I figured we would go with the throwback, obviously with the background, and I decided to go with all City Connect photo. Obviously for the Mariners, usually I'll just mix it up, depending on, how cool the photos are. But that hasn't been working for us. So I figured, hey, let's go back with the throwback at the T-Mobile into Safeco Field. And let's see what we can do here as the first pitch goes into Jose Altuve. Big swing and a miss, and the crowd erupts. 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour, right down the middle, high heat, 0-1 count. And there'll be plenty of boos for Jose Altuve no matter where he goes, Seattle and beyond. 0-1 pitch, right down the middle with another beautiful strike by Emerson Hancock. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. 0-0 here early between the Astros and the Mariners. Astros have been hitting very, very well. Mariners have not been able to hit. Mariners pitching has been great. Houston's has been bootios. Something's got to give. 0-2 pitch, Very wild getting away from M there and going back to that T-Mobile sign. Hopefully that's not a thing, a sign of things to come. We don't want to have any wild pitches, today based on how things have gone lately. The last thing that we need is errors, and wild pitches for guys to come in from third base and score. And hopefully M will be able to settle down here. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Jose Altuve. 1-2 pitch and dribbles it towards third base. Foul. 78-mile-an-hour sweeper there by Emerson Hancock. Top of the first inning, 0-0 here early between the Astros and the Mariners. Heated rivals through and through. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Hancock to Altuve. Emerson Hancock on the mound. Jose Altuve in the box. 1-2 pitch. Low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jose Altuve. Hope everyone is having a fantastic Friday night. We obviously are going to be in a 4-game set. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. 2 late games, 2 afternoon games. Again, we'll see how it all plays out, and hopefully we can get the job done. 2-2 pitch, tries to jam him. And a little blooper at third base for Leo Rivas in a very easy 1-2-3 inning. We're rocking the City Connects. We're looking good here tonight. And a great job there by Emerson Hancock. He's been pitching a gem, not only so far in this game, but overall to start the season. Now let's go to the bottom of the first inning and let's get on the board early and often. And let's see who's up next here for the Mariners. Marine Bean in the building, what's good? Hawks in the building, what's good? Andrea in the building, what's good? Let's get it, baby. Blue Jay in the building, what's good? Great job by Emerson Hancock. And, who would have thought that Emerson Hancock and Luis Castillo would, overachieve, and then Logan Gilbert kind of underachieved in his first 2 starts, but was, pretty good, obviously, in start number 3. And obviously Kirby and Wu, most of the time, they're going to be pretty electric, but we need to be able to try to get to 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits. That's usually the magic number. But hell, we've had a hard time even getting to 3 as of late. So we need to get a few home runs. We need to get some RBIs. We need to drop some bunts down. We need to steal some bags. We need to do a little bit of everything. We can't have any errors. We need to be very efficient. It's not the start that we wanted. No one expected us to be 4-9. And again, our team is too talented to keep this downward trend. And again, let's get it going here today. Leading off for the Mariners at shortstop, J.P. Crawford. Batting second, catching today for Seattle, big dumper Cal Raleigh. And batting third, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. And with Brendan Donovan, it's nothing serious. Obviously he had the growing injury and missed 2 games. He was feeling under the weather in that Texas, game in the last game in the set. He's been a little under the weather. I assume, a cold or a flu, not necessarily COVID. And again, we should hopefully have him in the lineup tomorrow. Unless we end up having him pinch hit later today, which is possible. Obviously, he did take some, batting practice earlier today, so we'll see how it goes. But again, a familiar face at leadoff at J.P. Crawford. And we have no access to Victor Robles. He's on the injured list, and that would be probably the only other guy that they would have lead off besides Julio Rodriguez. First pitch by Imai to J.P. Crawford, high and away. 4-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Totsuya Imai from Japan, and we've seen quite a few Japanese players come over to the big leagues in this offseason and have had some pretty good success. 1-0 pitch, high and away, 95 mile an hour, 4-seam fastball by Imai. 2 balls and no strikes to J.P. Crawford. 2-0 pitch, high and inside, 4-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour by Imai. 3 balls and no strikes to J.P. Crawford. Come on, J.P. Again, we have to be very efficient, with our swings. And again, if we can get more into pitch 4, pitch 5, pitch 6, that's usually the sweet spot, instead of just anticipating a strike right down the middle in the first 2 pitches and then, popping up and grounding out, which has been a common theme for the Mariners. We need to change it up. Takes a strike right down the middle. 3 balls and 1 strike to J.P. Crawford. 3-1 pitch, high and away. Great eye there by JP, and that is a 5-pitch walk. We'll take that. Again, and now hopefully JP will be able to steal a bag and, we'll be able to get a runner in scoring position right out of the gate. Best case scenario, Cal Raleigh comes up and hits a 2-run jack, or he ends up getting a single and double, and then Julio ends up getting a 3-run jack. Let's make it happen. Let's go. Tridents up. Let's go, M's. First pitch to Cal Raleigh, right down the middle, taking a strike, 0-1 count. Bottom of the first inning, 0-0 here early between the Astros and the Mariners. J.P. Crawford on a 5-pitch walk, and a slider, 86 miles an hour by Imai, right down the middle to Big Dumper, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. Cal crushes it into left field, out of play. And shout out to my boy Justin, my best friend, there with his dad. He's going to be there today and tomorrow, and I hope he has the best time. And obviously the next time he ends up going to a game, it will be with me on the 4th of July. Usually we'll go to about 3 to 4 games a year, and hopefully we can end up getting a victory for him and his dad here today and tomorrow. 0-2 pitch, high and away. That pitch gets away from Imai. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh. Let's go, baby. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. One-two pitch, high and away. Good eye there by the Big Dumper. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Cal Raleigh. Well, we got to crawl before we walk, Eugene, and we went a lot further than anyone anticipated when the year started. And again, at some point, in the next 20 years, there's a pretty good possibility that Cal and Julio and, the Seattle Mariners will lead this team to a World Series. We may not win the first time that we go, but with the core that we have, obviously not the greatest start to start this season, but I have full confidence in this roster and team. At some point, we are going to be able to break through. 2-2 pitch is fouled off, high and away. 87-mile-an-hour slider there by Imai. 2-2 pitch, low and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh. And Cal, I know you want to hit those big home runs. Sometimes you got to settle for a single type of swing instead of a moonshot swing. And if it's not there, Imai's a little wild. And he had a pretty good start on his last start, but he's hittable, and he's going to walk some guys. So again, if it's not there, don't swing. Be like JP, have the patience, and let's see the next guy up, Julio, if he can end up knocking him in, unless he ends up getting a walk as well. We got to make sure that we're taking advantage of bad pitching, and Houston's pitching has been bottom of the barrel. Obviously ours has been top 3. Theirs has been at the bottom. They've been one of the best hitting teams. We've been one of the worst. So something's got to give here today, and we don't want to bail them out, especially if their pitching has been a little shaky as of late. Let's go, Big Dumper. 3-2 pitch from Imai. There we go. Great eye by Cal Raleigh. And again, sometimes these guys get a little overzealous and, they want to be able to come up with these big plays. Nice job there by Cal Raleigh. Now we got runners at first and second with no outs. When's the last time that we could say that that's happened to us? Next up in the 3-hole, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. And again, best case scenario, Julio hits a 3-run bomb, boom, 3-0 lead. But again, we can't get greedy based on how the hitting has gone at this point. I mean, even just getting a single for an RBI and making it 1-0, we got to take what we can get. And again, after Julio with Naylor, Randy, and Luke Raley, the middle of the order has to produce. We got Young, Canzone, and Rivas on the bottom. I feel pretty confident with those guys in the 7, 8, and 9. 1, 2, 3 is JP, Cal, and Julio. But what are we going to get in the middle with Nails, Arosarena, and Raley? Hopefully those guys will be able to step up here in the City Connects tonight. And I'm glad they ended up fixing the Ichiro statue that was debuted. When they took off the curtain this morning, the bat ended up breaking, but they replaced it very quickly after. First pitch to Julio right down the middle for a strike from Imai, 0-1 count. But it's kind of ironic that when they unveiled the statue, the bat was broken when they took the tarp off. But again, that's kind of been what our season has been about. It hasn't been pretty. There's been mistakes, but they ended up fixing it up, and it looks beautiful out there. 0-1 pitch. Julio crushes it into right field, out of play. No balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. And when I go up on the 4th of July, I'm definitely going to be getting a photo with that new Ichiro statue. I've already gotten many photos with the Griffey and the Edgar, and I'm definitely excited to get one with the Ichiro as well. And based on the photos on social media that the Mariners posted, it looks amazing, especially after the fixed broken bat. 0-2 pitch, little dribbler over Imai's head. Yes, run Julio, and everyone is safe. Here we go. A little bit of luck there for the Mariners as that ball ends up jumping over Imai's head just in time. And now we got bases loaded for Josh Naylor. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. I mean, when's the last time we've had luck like this? But again, Houston's pitching has been off. And again, we haven't been able to hit. They haven't been able to pitch. So this is exciting. Again, no one expected us to be as bad as we are. Wild pitch, come home. 1-0 Mariners. Here we go. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. You be patient. You wait for the walks. You end up getting a wild pitch. Emerson Hancock had one as well. And then good awareness there by J.P. Crawford. Already about 20% of the way there. Sliding in safe. Beautiful job by the Mariners. And just like that, 1-0 Seattle. Let's go. And again, no one expected us to be as bad as we were. Little dribbler there by Naylor on a 1-0 count. And that is foul. 1 ball and 1 strike to Josh Naylor. And a great slide there by JP. Instead of going head first, he went feet first. If he would have went head first, he may have been tagged. So again, great job, great awareness by JP. 1-0 Seattle. And let's see if ESPN will do their job and get the job done here. Naylor dribbles it down towards third base and foul. Let's go. Yeah, and anyone, that has, parlays and bets, to be able to win, we want those people to win, right? But sometimes things are a little bit more important for us Mariner fans. And again, a lot of times that people have the parlays, they may not even be fans of the teams that are even playing here today. But again, hopefully down the road, another bet will come your way that you'll win. But for us Mariner fans, we're definitely excited to have that 1-0 lead. It's been rough this year. 1-2 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes. To Josh Naylor. And again, that's why baseball's so hard to bet on. I mean, it's very hard to predict. Let's go. Naylor's not the greatest bunter, so 2-2 pitch, popped up into left field, out of play. Again, if we have certain individuals, to potentially bunt, J.P. Crawford can do it well. Cole Young, Dominic Canzone if needed, Leo Rivas especially. There's a few guys. Not everyone is a great bunter on this team. So, and we know Naylor, has been struggling, as a little bit better later in games rather than in the beginning. 2-2 pitch, low and at the knees. Good patience here by Naylor. Count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes there to Josh Naylor. And again, the game plan, obviously, we know their pitching hasn't been good. So why, be overly aggressive, and strike out when you'll probably get walked instead. So good game plan here by the Mariners early. 3-2 pitch, and that's a walk, baby. Imai is rough right now, and we exactly are taking advantage of what we need to do in this first inning. Here we go. Bases loaded. We already got a 1-0 lead. Nice patience by all 4 batters so far. J.P. Crawford with a walk. Cal getting on with a walk. Julio with getting a lucky dribbler over Imai's head. And now Naylor with a walk. And then J.P. scoring off the wild pitch, obviously earlier in the at-bat. Next up, Randy Arozarena. First pitch, Randy crushes it into right field, out of play, 0-1 count. And at some point, that luck is going to end up, coming into our lap where we're going to get a grand salami. We are going to get a 3-run jack. We are going to get, those big plays. They haven't happened so far, but at some point they will, especially if we go against a team that's been struggling in pitching. 0-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Randy Arozarena. And I figured we needed a change. Decided to go with the Safeco background instead of the T-Mobile. Decided to go all City Connect uniforms for all the photos. Figured that would give us a little bit more luck here today, and so far so good. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. Come on, Randy. Come on, Randy, little blooper. And it hits him. Here we go. And bases loaded. Randy gets hit. 2-0 Mariners. This is what I'm talking about. We're in prime position. Cal comes home, and I love it. Take advantage of the bad pitching. Let's go. Nobody deserves this more than us Mariner fans. Nobody has gone through more hell to start a season than us. 4-9 record when we're supposed to be World Series contenders, 3-4 at home. And again, Randy looks like he is okay. And again, if you just are patient and wait for those good things to happen, whether it's a pitch right down the middle, getting hit by a pitch and not getting hurt, or taking the walk, 2-0 Seattle. Tridents up. Let's go. Next up is Luke Raley. A little grand salami by Luke Raley would be great, huh? Kurt is warming up already for the Astros. How sweet would that be if we get a grand salami and we go up 6-0, but we don't need to get greedy. Like I said, we'll take what they'll give us, even if that ends up being walk after walk after walk. 1-0 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and no strikes to Luke Raley. I mean, hell, at this point, you don't even need to swing. Obviously, I know some of these guys want to, but since, the pitching is off, just let the game come to you, And again, if we can end up bringing in a few more runs before they pull Imai, that's going to be better than hitting into a double play or a cheap ground out or pop-up. Keep the momentum going, for Seattle. Great job. And I'm so happy for my best friend and his dad, because we talked this morning and they drove up, went to In-N-Out, and, I was really praying that this was going to be a great trip for them. 2-0 pitch. Takes a strike right down the middle to Luke Raley. 2 balls and 1 strike with bases loaded and no outs. And I don't think we've had a start like this in quite some time. And I'm feeling so much joy in my heart right now. Of course, the game is nowhere near being over, but we haven't been able to get off to a good start like this the whole season. 2-1 pitch, a little slow dribbler. Run, baby, run. Late throw to first, but got him just in time. But another run comes in. And I like that. Julio Rodriguez, 3-0 Mariners. I'm loving it. Oh, they're going to try to say it was the double play here with Randy and the tag. He missed him. Does not tag Randy. So they try to say that they got the double play. They did not. The tag is missed on Randy. They do get the out at first base, but great job by Randy with good body control to lean his body out of the way. And obviously, once this gets reviewed, it'll be 1 out, 3-0, not 2 outs, 3-0. Great job. And I know, Randy obviously is sometimes a little lazy, running the bags, running to first, running to ground balls, but right there did a great job avoiding the tag, and we'll take that. Paredes just couldn't get that tag in time, but they do get the out at Luke Raley at first. Let's go. Let's go. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. We need 15 subs to get to 23,700. I have a good idea and feeling that we're going to get it today. Call's overturned, and he's safe, as we all knew. Let's go. This is going to be the best game of the year up to this point. We've had 4 wins, but it's not going to be as satisfying as this one. 5-game losing streak for us, 4-game losing streak for them. And again, it's our bitter rival, right? We hate the Astros. They hate us. And again, nothing better when you can beat the shit out of them when you have been on a losing streak. And again, hopefully, things will continue. And I'm not saying that we're going to sweep the Astros or even win 3 out of 4. Realistically, it might be a split. But if we can win 3 out of 4 or a sweep, it could really do a lot for us, not only mentally, but also with Uncle Mo moving forward. Next up is Cole Young as he fouls that one off right down the middle. 4-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Come on, Cole. 0-1 pitch, fouls it off the catcher, goes towards third base, and out of play. No balls and 2 strikes to Cole Young. Let's go. Oh-2 pitch. High and inside, 4-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour. There by Imai. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Cole Young. I feel like I'm a very solid friend. I mean, I used to hang out with a lot of people, but, at the last couple years, I've been focusing obviously on my pup and the channel. And I really only talk to one or two people, really. It's like I got a lot of people that are, people I used to party with, and I'm not really doing that anymore. I'm really focused on my dreams and goals and with you guys and my pup. So, exercising, making sure she's in good health and making sure I'm grinding on the channel. And sometimes you got to, sacrifice, some of those other things to be able to make your dreams, come true. But one thing has always been constant, and it is my best friend, Justin. 1-2 pitch, low and into the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Cole Young. And he's the only guy that I end up giving a lot of my collection to, because I don't have any kids or anything. So I want to make sure, that a lot of this memorabilia that I got that's, very special to my heart, that will go to someone that won't sell it, someone that will cherish it. And again, he's been my dog for quite some time. And again, I'm really hoping for some victories here today and tomorrow for him and his dad. 2-2 pitch, high and away. Slider 87 miles an hour there by Imai. Count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with runners at second and third and 1 out. Bottom of the first inning, 3-0 Mariners. I've given him, Ken Griffey Jr. stitched jerseys, Ken Griffey Jr. autograph, All-Star Baseball, authenticated by PSA as that pitch is inside, and that's another walk to Cole Young. And it looks like we're going to have a pitching change here. And we haven't seen anyone with a pitching change in the first inning all year. And I believe O'Kurt will be coming out. But again, thankfully, the struggles for Houston continue. And again, if anyone needed this, it's definitely us. Even if we flip-flopped our record and we were 9-4, this would be exciting. But to be able to be 4-9 and to go through hell and back and to be able to do this against our rivals to kind of get the winning streak started again, it feels really good. And again, my best friend's dad and my dad are relatively same age. They're kind of getting up there. And again, you just want to make sure you're, spending as much time as you can with the family. And again, they're going to be there today. They're going to get a hotel, which they've already checked into. They're going to go to tomorrow's game with Castillo, La Piedra on the bump. And then they're going to come back on Sunday. And, he's going to send me pictures. Obviously, they had the Ichiro statue figure miniature that was the giveaway. So I'm a little jealous that him and his dad got that. And they unveiled the statue this morning, even though the bat got broken. But they ended up fixing it. And so far, so good. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better trip in the first inning with a 3-0 Mariner lead. Sarah in the building, what's good? Next up, with bases loaded and 1 out, will be Dominic Canzone. And let's look at Imai. 0.1 innings pitched, 1 hit, 3 earned runs, 4 walks, 0 Ks, 37 pitches, 17 strikes, 7.27 ERA, and now he's out. So thank you so much. And again, we've seen some, players from Japan be really, really good, like in Chicago for the White Sox. But then obviously with Imai, it's been very hit or miss. And thankfully it was a miss here today. Thank you so much. And now O'Kurt is coming in. First pitch from Stephen O'Kurt to Dominic Canzone. Big swing and a miss, low and away, 0-1 count. Oh, 0-1 pitch, another big swing and a miss. Be patient, Dom. Everyone in the lineup is patient but you. Come on now. Yeah, we know that the pitcher has changed, from Imai to, O'Kurt, but you have to have that same approach. Because if you just would have stood in the box, it would be a 2-0 count, and maybe we bring in another run based off a walk. Settle down. 0-2 pitch, and that is strike 3. What a terrible at-bat there for Dominic Canzone. Have some awareness. They have one of the worst pitching staffs in 2026, right? And even though they switch pitchers, you have to be a little bit more aware. Come on, Dom. You're the Italian stallion. If you just would have been in the box, it probably would have been another walk. Next up is third baseman today, Leo Rivas. And let's see if Rivas has a little bit of patience here. We want to make sure we're getting as many runs as possible. We're not satisfied with just a 3-0, lead in the first inning. Because again, based on how things have gone for us in 2026, no lead, is safe until the game is actually over. First pitch in there, takes a strike looking. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, pops it up into shallow center field. And that is out number 3. We leave 3 stranded, but not after. We end up getting 3, and it feels good to have this 3-0 lead. And I wish we just would have had a little bit more patience here at the bottom of the order by Dominic Canzone and Leo Rivas. And if they had more patience, maybe we have 5-0 before this inning ends. But we can't complain. We have a 3-0 lead. Great job, Seattle. Tridents up. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Let's see who's up next here for the Astros in the top of the second. Next up for the Stros in the 4-hole, second baseman Isaac Paredes. Batting second in the 5-hole, first baseman Christian Walker. And batting third in the 6-hole, third baseman Carlos Correa. And on the mound for the Mariners, 1-1 record, ERA of .71, Emerson Hancock. Okay, we gained 4 subs since the last commercial break. Appreciate you. 11 subs to go to 23,700. That was the best first inning of the year. There's no doubt about that. All right, we're at 44 likes. There we go. TJ's on it right below. I got you. 44 likes, 56 to 100. Let's get it. First pitch to Paredes. Low and away with the four-seam fastball there by Emerson Hancock, 94 miles an hour. 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, high and inside. Four-seam fastball missing again. 94 miles an hour, high and inside. 2 balls and no strikes from Hancock to Paredes. Tridents up. Let's go M's. Fantastic start. A complete meltdown by the Astros and having their pitcher pulled. Diving attempt there by Leo Rivas is missed. If that was Brendan Donovan, does he make the play? Maybe, maybe not. And a nice base knock there by Paredes. Next up in the 5-hole, first baseman Christian Walker. And hopefully we get a strikeout and a double play, or a double play and a strikeout. There's a number of things that, made this season uncomfortable, and again, the WBC has not been kind to a lot of the players that participated. And half of our starting lineup participated in that tournament. And if you actually look at some of the social media posts, based on all the players that played in that tourney, most of them are either injured, playing bad, or underwhelming tremendously. So again, we'll be able to get out of the funk. I'm very, confident of that. Takes one pitch right down the middle, four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour by Hancock, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, fouled off, out of play. Four-seam fastball again, 95 miles an hour by M. No balls and 2 strikes to Christian Walker. But again, a lot of the guys have been pressing. And again, momentum goes both ways. You get good Uncle Mo when things are going great. And, when it, rains, it pours. And, things definitely have escalated more than anticipated. But we can definitely get back on track. 162-game season, plenty of time, to be able to get the ship turned around, and plenty of time to win the division or get the wild card. So as long as you get into the dance, that's all that matters. 0-2 pitch is outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Christian Walker. 1-2 pitch, little dribbler, and that ends up going towards third base and foul. But again, we haven't really had a lot of help from the other teams. We've been going against a lot of left-handed pitching, poor, management by Dan Wilson with Ref Snyder leading off, and poor righty lineup, injuries to Victor Robles and, many other players, that, may or may not get some action. And again, just no small ball, no bunting, no stolen bags. We haven't been able to, get a lot of walks or hit by pitches to kind of help us out. And then a lot of poor swings, early in the season, not just by guys like Cal and Julio, but everyone besides Dominic Canzone, Luke Raley early in the season. And obviously they've kind of faded a little bit lately. And obviously Brendan Donovan has been fantastic, as well as Cole Young, who's been the best overall player on offense and defense. 1-2 pitch, another wild pitch there by Emerson Hancock, and runner advances to second. And that's the second wild pitch by Emerson Hancock. First start was immaculate, and every start since then has been, a little shaky there. And again, we want to make sure that we can actually get the ball into the mitt, regardless if it's Mitch Garver or Cal Raleigh. And again, second wild pitch by Emerson Hancock already. And again, it also helps that a lot of the teams in our division aren't very good either. 2-2 pitch inside, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Christian Walker. There's not a team in our division in the AL West, that's like 12-1, where we're like, oh, holy hell, we have to, catch up to that. So, everyone is, for the most part in the American League is kind of doing shitty for the most part. There's only 3-4 teams above 500. So out of 15, much more obviously in the National League as far as win-loss percentage. And that ends up being inside, and that'll be a walk to Christian Walker. And Emerson Hancock looking a little shaky here to start the game. Next up is Carlos Correa. And we definitely need a strikeout and a double play, or a double play and a strikeout. On deck is Cam Smith. And again, we want to make sure we can keep this 3-0 lead as long as possible. Hard hit ball up the middle, right into Julio Rodriguez's glove off the one hop. And now we have bases loaded with no outs. And this is something that, obviously we saw when the Mariners were at bat with Imai. Come on, Emerson. We finally ended up getting a 3-0 lead. The last thing that we need is for you to shit the bed, and obviously we thought maybe Emerson, has turned a corner, filling in for Bryce Miller. But obviously watching this, you're starting to think, is this the Emerson Hancock from last year? And again, hopefully he'll be able to settle in and the defense will be able to bail him out with a strikeout and a double play, or a double play and a strikeout. If not, it may be 3-3 sooner than later. First pitch in there to Cam Smith, takes a strike looking high and inside. 97 mile an hour four-seam fastball, 0-1 count. And obviously this is the worst start, that we've had in, 15, 20 years. But again, I'm very confident in this roster. 0-1 pitch, hard hit ball, deep left field, fading foul. Thank God. The last thing that we need is for them to hit a fucking grand slam, and then they go up 4-3, and then that whole amazing first inning gets erased. And not only that, we're then down by a run. Got to be careful here. Top of the second inning, bases loaded and no outs. 3-0 Mariners. Hancock on the mound, Smith in the box. 0-2 pitch, hard hit ball towards third. Leo Rivas with a diving catch. My man. And again, if Leo doesn't make that play, it's 3-1 or 3-2 Seattle. Great job there by Leo. Holy moly, what a line drive and what a dive there by Rivas. We got incredibly lucky there on that hard hit ball by Cam Smith right into the glove of Leo Rivas. Thank you so much, Leo. What a dime. Next up in the 8-hole, center fielder Joey Loperfido. So now we finally did the hard part. We got the first out. So now we need a slow dribbler up the middle, toe tap on the bag by either JP or Cole Young, throw to Naylor. We get out of this fucking inning unscathed, and we're still up 3-0. That's best case scenario. Yeah, I mean, even with the start, the quote-unquote experts and the pundits, even with us with a 4-9 record, everyone still thinks that quote-unquote experts still think that we're going to be a top 3 team in the American League. And obviously, if they didn't think that we were good enough to turn the ship around, they wouldn't have us as still a top 3 team in the American League towards the end of the season at this point, with the shitty start that we've had. And again, we have a lot of talent. We just have definitely underachieved. There's no doubt about that. and poor managing. You got to throw that in there, right? Poor hitting, poor managing. The pitching and the defense have been good, but the hitting and the managing have been pretty fucking shitty. And we haven't really been able to get a whole lot of help from the other teams with bad pitching, with walks and hit by pitches either. Astros challenge. And they lose that challenge there. And they use up, I believe, all their challenges for the ABS already. 0-1 pitch. Low and away. Sweeper 78 miles an hour there by Emerson Hancock. 1 ball and 1 strike to Joey Loperfido. One pitch. Check swing. Did he go? Low and inside. He does not. 2 balls and 1 strike to Joey Loperfido. Plus, there's a lot of bandwagon Mariner fans and a lot of casuals and fair weather fans. If you are a diehard and you've been a fan of this team, since the late 70s, mid 80s, or even in the 90s, you understand that we went on a 20-year playoff drought, right? Not many fans could actually handle that. Some people would just switch teams. But, for us in the Pacific Northwest, we love this team, regardless if we make the playoffs or not. But obviously, since 2022, it feels like we definitely have turned a corner. Big swing and a miss, high and away. 97-mile-an-hour four-seam fastball by Emerson Hancock. 2-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Here we go. Huge punch out there by M to get the second out. Here we go. There we go. All day, every day. Again, I've been a fan of this team since the mid-'80s. There's people in this room that have been fans since the very beginning, and there's also been fans within the last 5 to 10 years. But again, trust me, from 2022 to 2042, in this 20-year gap, good things are going to happen for this team. Believe you me. First pitch from Hancock to Vasquez. Big swing and a miss. 97-mile-an-hour four-seam fastball right down the middle. 0-1 count. Vasquez in the box, Emerson Hancock on the mound. And this would be a fantastic way to get out of this jam if we can just get Vasquez out. 0-1 pitch, called ball. Cal is challenging. And let's see if we can win this. Yes, sir. Cal wins the challenge, and, he's been definitely hit or miss with the ABS as well as the Mariners overall. We win the challenge. Houston is out of challenges with bad pitching, and it got bases loaded, 2 outs. We didn't get the double play. We don't need it right now. We probably will need it down the road, and let's see if we can get another punch out here for Hancock to leave 3 stranded. Nothing would make me happier. I'll take a pop-up ground out, but give me the strikeout. 0-2 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Christian Vasquez. Showtime in the building. What's good? $97-mile-an-hour four-seam fastball on that last pitch. 1-2 pitch. Another wild pitch, and luckily Cal jumps to be able to get that. Otherwise, that would have been a wild pitch, and then that runner from third would have scored just like JP. Third wild pitch there by Hancock, but luckily Cal jumped, and got that ball. And again, if you're going to be throwing that pitch, you got to be a little bit more accurate. Nice job there by Cal Raleigh, saving a run for us. Don't be throwing that fucking sweeper anymore. 2-2 pitch. Hard hit ball towards third, gets past Leo Rivas. That's going to score 1, possibly 2. And you got Randy. Come on, Randy, don't be lazy out there. And finally, we get the ball thrown into the infield, but not after they score fucking 3 runs. Jesus Christ. And again, that's the problem. If you got a third baseman that's a little, short arm, short legs, and then you got a guy like Randy who's the absolute worst at, fielding ground balls. Nice hit there by Vasquez. And again, we were 1 strike away from making it 3-0 and 1 hit away. And now the game is tied 3-3. Good job, Randy, you fucking bum. Sick and tired of him in left field. But again, that's what we have to live with until other guys get called up. That's just fucking insane. How you can have a 3-0 lead and almost get out of the inning and then everyone fucking scores. And again, that 3-0 lead felt good, but then it just got erased there moments ago. We're going to have to probably score 7-8 runs to win today. Next up is Jeremy Pena. Fucking A. 0-1 pitch, little dribbler towards third and foul. And again, we know Rivas ended up making that amazing diving catch, but again, it's like you got to have good players, in your infield at first, third, and at second base and short. And if you got guys that are not very good defensively, sometimes that happens. But again, you do have to give Vasquez credit. That was just a hard hit ball. Just was really hoping that M could get out of that jam. But unfortunately, they scored 3. I mean, why couldn't it have just been 1 or 2 at the most? So we could at least have a lead, going into the bottom of the second. But I guess this how it goes. 0-2 pitch, low and away. Sweeper, 79 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Jeremy Pena. And another wild pitch. And luckily, Cal gets that. Come on, Emerson. Jesus Christ. I mean, if he keeps throwing that fucking sweeper and it keeps going wild, again, there's going to be much more runs that the Astros are going to score. I mean, if you can't nail that pitch into the glove than Cal, and it's going to be 5 feet off the fucking plate, stop throwing it. And Cal needs to stop calling it. 2-2 pitch, popped up. There by Jeremy Pena, shallow center field. Julio is there. And that is out number 3. Ay, huh? I guess that celebration was short-lived. But again, that's why I kind of had a feeling, that if Emerson Hancock was going to be wild, that something could happen like this. I was hoping it would be 3-1 or 3-2, not 3-3. But, sometimes I guess the Astros get a little lucky against us as well. Let's see who's up next here in the bottom of the second inning, and let's see if we can take the lead back after the Astros scored 3 there in the second inning. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. We got a new banger here that we're going to debut right now. Next up, 0-for-0 with a run and a base on ball, J.P. Crawford. Filling in for Brandon Donovan, who's got a flu or cold. Hopefully he'll be back later this evening or tomorrow. Batting second, 0-for-0 with a run and a base on ball, catcher, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. And batting third, 1-for-1 with a run, center fielder, Julio Rodriguez. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Sathis with the tour. Appreciate you. Every dollar counts. Appreciate you. Stephen Okert on the mound. J.P. Crawford in the box. Yeah, he made this morning. So I was like, I got to have access. Hook me up, my guy. And then we have a program once he ends up making the beat that I can flip it from like a wave to a MP3 or an MP4. So again, and there's a certain type of sound that I think that fits really well with the channel. And anytime he ends up having something like that, we'll be debuting new beats as soon as he makes them. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 0-1 pitch and there for a strike. First pitch was high and inside with a 4-seam fastball, 89 miles an hour. Second pitch right down the middle with another strike there to JP. No balls and 2 strikes to JP Crawford. 0-2 pitch, high and away. Slider, 82 miles an hour there by Okert. 1 ball and 2 strikes to JP Crawford. 1-2 pitch. High and away. Good patience there by JP. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Okert to Crawford. And again, the Mariners aren't cooked. We have a great roster. When we went on a 20-year drought, we had some good players like Felix Hernandez and, Robinson Cano and Nelson Cruz and, Kyle Seager and a few others, but we just never really had a full roster. But, the talent on this team is undeniable. It's just about, getting the pitching, defense, and hitting all together in the same game. Big swing and a miss there for JP. Okert with his first punch out, and that is 1 away. Next up, 0 for 0 with a run and a base on ball. Big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Astro fans, haters, they can say whatever they want to say, but, we're still very confident in this team. First pitch to big dumper, Cal Raleigh, 0-1 count. You got to be mentally tough to be a fan of any team in Oregon and Washington. We're built different out here, and again, a lot of fans would not be able to endure a lot of the pain and misery that we've gone through. But one thing is for sure, when Oregon and Washington teams end up getting good after building a team for 4 or 5 years, usually we're championship good. So, keep that in mind. 0-1 pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike to big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Marine Bean says we're at 67, 33 to go. Let's get it. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes to big dumper, Cal Raleigh. And plus, even though we haven't been to a World Series before and we're the only team, we've had some of the greatest players on planet Earth to ever put on a Mariner uniform, right? Ken Griffey Jr., Randy Johnson, Ichiro Suzuki, Edgar Martinez, Cal and Julio now, and a lot of others. So, all right. Cal Raleigh is challenging the strike 3 call. I don't know if he's going to win this. And he does. Mariners challenge. It is outside. Good call there by Cal. One by him being a catcher and one in the box. Nice job, Cal. And obviously a good frame job, there by the catcher. Yeah, we don't claim A-Rod, though. Alex Rodriguez is a douchebag. 2-2 pitch. And again, there's going to be some Mariner fans that like him, but he was good for us until he went to the Rangers and then the Yankees and did steroids and PEDs. But I don't associate Alex Rodriguez with our greats. He was a guy that was good for us for a few years, but I don't put him in the same category, with a lot of the others that actually were good people off the field. 2-2 pitch, and Cal pops it up. But as far as baseball talent, yeah, an extremely talented player that cheated. And down goes Cal Raleigh, popping up at first base to Christian Walker, and that is 2 away. But again, there are going to be Mariner fans that love Alex Rodriguez, but I'm definitely not one of them. I don't claim him at all. Definitely, had the talent to never cheat and still end up being a Hall of Famer. But sometimes guys get greedy, and that's why we appreciate guys like Griffey and Ichiro and Edgar, doing it the fucking right way, as well as Randy Johnson. Next up is Julio Rodriguez. First pitch right down the middle, takes a strike looking, 0-1 count. Oh, 0-1 pitch from O'Kurt. Big swing and a miss. Slider, 81 miles an hour, low and at the knees. No balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. Bottom of the second inning, 3-3. We're knotted up with nobody on and 2 outs. Stephen O'Kurt on the mound, Julio Rodriguez in the box. Oh-2 pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. And I'm not sour that he left. He ended up getting the highest paid contract back then. That was like, $250 million plus. So again, he went to Texas because he wanted to get paid and, go to that roster and eventually go to the Yankees, but again, it's the cheating and the person who he is after baseball and obviously off the field, not a very likable guy, if you ask me. 1-2 pitch, high and inside, 4-seam fastball, 91 miles an hour, 2 balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. 2-2 pitch, Julio with a slow dribbler towards third, throw to first. And that is out number 3. And if we're representing a Rodriguez, we're only representing Julio, not Alex. End of the second inning, 3-3, we're knotted up. Let's see who's up next here in the top of the third inning for the Houston Astros. Next up for the Astros, 0 for 1 in the 2-hole, left fielder Yordan Alvarez. Batting second, 0 for 1, DHing in the 3-hole, Jose Altuve. And batting third in the 4-hole, second baseman, 1 for 1 with a run, Isaac Paredes. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. Getting 2 more subs since the last commercial break. Only 9 subs to go to 23,700. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. All right, we're at 70 likes, 30 to 100. Let's go. Emerson Hancock so far, 2 innings pitched, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, 1 K, 45 pitches, 28 strikes, 2.45 ERA. And then with Okert, he is at 1.2 innings pitched, no hits, no earned runs, no walks, 2 Ks, 21 pitches, 15 strikes with a 4.05 ERA. After we obviously saw Totsuya Imai just get absolutely throttled, and they ended up taking him out in the first. I just wish Emerson was able to get that last strike so we would have a 3-0 or 3-1 lead. But sometimes, the Astros, they have that ability, one big swing, could tie the game up, and it wasn't even a home run, just a hard hit ball into left field. And that's our worst nightmare. Again, if teams could purposely hit ground balls to Randy, we probably would lose every game, so hopefully that'll be the only ball that ends up going to him the rest of the way, but we will see. First pitch into Yordan Alvarez is a ball, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and no strikes to Yordan Alvarez. Back-to-back cutters, 86 miles an hour there by Emerson Hancock. 2-0 pitch, takes a strike looking low and away. Cutter, 84 miles an hour. Probably should have been a ball. But again, they give him the strike call there. And hopefully we don't see any more sweepers out of Hancock, because those are the wild pitches, or the sweepers that typically are going wide left or wide right. 2-1 pitch, low and at the knees with the cutter. 83 miles an hour, low and away. 3 balls and 1 strike to Yordan Alvarez. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Love me some Jay Buhner, and I love the obscure guys as well. Takes a strike right down the middle. Tino Martinez, one of my favorites of all time. John Olerud, the former Blue Jay and Mariner. There's a lot of guys, that were really good players that maybe didn't get as much love or pub, but we remember them, and not just the famous ones, the Alvin Davises and the Harold Reynolds and, that Ken Griffey Jr. era. But there was a lot of guys, in the 80s and the 90s that we have a lot of joy and a lot of love that, for those, particular players. And the names go on and on and on. I can go all day. Pitch fouled off, high and away. Count now is full. 3-2 pitch. Cal with the frame job there, but that is not enough, and that ends up being ball 4, and Yordan Alvarez making his way to first. Love me some Raul Ibanez. Loved him. I love Kyle Seager. Love Raul Ibanez. I love Nelson Cruz. Not so much Robinson Cano. Robinson Cano, I don't know if it's the Yankee attachment and whatnot, but we overpaid for him. And I never really was a fan of Alex Rodriguez. Never was a fan really of Robinson Cano. I appreciated what he attempted to do for us, but Nelson Cruz was more likable, But again, overall, we've had more guys that I've loved than not. Adam Jones, that was one that we let get away. Once he went to the Orioles, he became an all-star. Should have hung on to him. 0-1 pitch, big swing and a miss to Jose Altuve. 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour. No balls and 2 strikes to Jose Altuve. Emerson Hancock on the mound. Jose Altuve in the box. And obviously King Felix. How can you not love a player like that? Just ended up playing in an era that I wish he could have played on this era with this team. Could you imagine? And down goes Altuve. Big swing and a miss. And down goes Jose. I love it. 1 away. One for one with a run. Second baseman Isaac Paredes. Yeah, Cameron was a fantastic. Obviously, we knew he filled in for King Griffey Jr. when he went to the Reds and had that 4 home run game, and he doesn't get nearly as much love and a lot of pressure on him filling in the shoes of a guy that arguably is one of the greatest players to ever play, to never cheat, and probably the most beautiful swing that you'll ever see in King Griffey Jr. But he did a pretty good job filling in when he had his time here with Seattle. First pitch in there with a strike, looking on the line with a cutter, 86 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, big swing and a miss. But I believe Tino is obscure because you never really hear a lot of Mariner fans talk about him or John Olerud. I mean, if the conversation comes up, and whatnot. But I mean, we have different tiers of players, I mean, if you really want to go deep in the barrel, for guys that were like no-name guys that were good for us. But, Tino was a name, but he doesn't really get the love that he probably should have, like John Olerud, but we remember him, but it all depends if you grew up in that era or not. 0-2 pitch fouled off there by Paredes. No ball, 2 strikes with a runner at first and 1 out. Astros 3, Mariners 3 in a wild game here on Friday night. 0-2 pitch, hard hit ball, double play, throw to first, got him. Let's go. Nice double play there, and I figured we would get 1 or 2 double plays today, and good job there by the Mariner defense that has probably been the strong suit besides the pitching overall. Have there been some errors and some missed plays on defense? Yes, but the defense has been better than the hitting, and obviously pitching has been top 3. So, and our bullpen has been overall pretty good as well. It's just about getting the balance of the hitting, the pitching, and the defense, as well as the bullpen pitching all together. And again, got to find a way to win this game. Let's see who is up next here for the Mariners as we go to the bottom of the 3rd. Next up, in the bottom of the 3rd inning, 0-for-0 with a base on ball. First baseman, it's Nails, Josh Naylor. Batting second in the 5-hole, left fielder, 0-for-0 with an RBI, Randy Arozarena. And batting third, 0-for-1 with an RBI, right fielder in the 6-hole, Luke Raley. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Nine more subs to go to get to 23,700. We've gained 300 plus since the season started. And again, we're definitely going in the right direction. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. All right, we're at 74 likes, 26 to 100 with 146 in the room. Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby. And we got a pitching change here for the Astros. Weiss is coming in. It's got a 7.27 ERA, so hopefully we'll take advantage. First pitch to Josh Naylor ends up being a ball, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, hard hit laser into right field, and it goes about 10 rows back, and a great souvenir for that fan. I would love for my best friend to get a ball. He's there with his dad, and they're going to be there today and tomorrow. But I'm really hoping that they end up getting the victory here. One pitch, big swing and a miss by Josh Naylor. Ryan Weiss on the mound, Josh Naylor in the box. Ryan Weiss spending 2 years in Korea, they said. '29-year-old rookie. I assume no relation to Walt Weiss. the player there for the Oakland Athletics back in the day, and obviously part of the Atlanta Brave organization, where we saw him tackle, obviously, Jorge Soler when they ended up having that fight with the Braves and the Angels. He was involved. And I know Walt Weiss has got like a, Taekwondo or some type of, Kung Fu background and whatnot. So he definitely is not afraid to go and tackle players if needed. 2-2 pitch, high and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Weiss to Naylor. Ryan Weiss on the mound, Josh Naylor in the box. Three-two pitch, hard hit ball, deep right field, at the wall, and caught. Damn it. Oh, I was really hoping that Naylor would get a little bit more of that one, and that ends up being one away, all the way back to the wall there in right field. Nice catch there by Cam Smith. Next up, in the 5-hole, left fielder Randy Arozarena, who got hit in the arm in his first at-bat. First pitch is low and away. Sinker, 1-0 count. 94 miles an hour there by Ryan Weiss. 1-0 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and no strikes to Randy Arozarena. Two-0 pitch. Takes a strike right down the middle. 2 balls and 1 strike to Randy Arozarena. Yeah, and it's kind of crazy how many similarities, my best friend and me have with our dads. He grew up in LA and has lived half his life in LA and here in Oregon. His dad's a Dodger fan. My dad's a Dodger fan. My dad grew up in LA. As a little blooper, it goes into right field for Randy Arozarena. Nice job by Randy. But my dad's lived in Oregon and LA and Hawaii and a few other locations, and watched Sandy Koufax pitch back in the day when he was a kid, and obviously, so both of our dads are big Dodger fans, but me and Justin are Mariner fans through and through. And a nice single there by Randy Arozarena. Nice job, Randy. I mean, you still are really shitty at defense on ground balls in left field, but nice base knock to slightly make up for it. Next up in the 6-hole, right fielder Luke Raley. See if we can get a nuke out of Luke. And last thing here, we want to make sure Randy's not falling asleep, at first base. The last thing that we need in a close game like this is to have a runner fall asleep once they get, a big hit and get thrown out, which we've actually had happen quite a few times already in the early season. Pitch in there to Raley for a strike. Bottom of the 3rd inning, runner at first, Randy Arozarena. 3-3 tie between the Astros and the Mariners. And a 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour by Ryan Weiss. Low, but in the zone, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, low and away, and Luke takes another strike. In the zone, got to swing, my guy. No balls and 2 strikes to Luke Raley. Ryan Weiss on the mound. Luke Raley in the box. Oh-2 pitch, and down he goes. Come on, Luke. Big swing and a miss, high and away, and that is 2 away. Next up in the 7-hole, second baseman Cole Young, who's been our second best hitter to Brandon Donovan and our best defender, no doubt. The best overall player for us, offense and defense, Cole Young. And I can't wait for Colt Emerson to get called up. We could definitely use him. Throw to first to Christian Walker, and Randy is safe. First pitch is high and away, 1-0 count. 12 hits this season, 6 versus lefties, 6 versus righties. Just as complete of a player that you would want in the box as well as defensively. And I think Colt Emerson will be just the same. He's going to be a Corbin Carroll type of player in the infield. And to have Colt and Cole, dominating is going to be very exciting. And then it's just about Brendan Donovan and Josh Naylor upping their game at third and first. Not only hitting, with Donovan has been doing a great job, but defensively. Mike in the building, what's good? 1-0 pitch in there for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike to Cole Young. One pitch, and he fouls that one off into left field, out of play. Four-seam fastball, 97 miles an hour there by Ryan Weiss. Bottom of the third inning, runner at first with 2 outs. We're tied up at 3. Wild first inning for Seattle, scoring 3 runs, but then we give up 3 in the second, and that sweeper has not been ideal for Emerson Hancock, and I wish he would just take that out of his repertoire because, unless you can throw it with accuracy, it's going to hurt. And again, walking a guy here and giving up a base knock there and then having bases loaded and then just getting a line drive down that third base line all the way to left field. And we know Randy is the biggest liability on the team defensively. And, if it's a pop-up, Randy is good. But if it ends up being a ground ball, good luck. He's very lazy, doesn't throw a laser into the infield. It's always just kind of a lob like it's an exhibition game, and it's maddening. Big swing and a miss there on Cole Young. Nice strikeout there for Ryan Weiss. We leave 1 stranded, Randy Arosarena, and it is the end of the third inning, and we're still knotted up at 3. Let's go to the top of the 4th inning and see who's up next here for the Astros. Next up for the Astros, 0 for 0 with a run and a base on ball in the 5-hole. First baseman, Christian Walker. Batting second, 1 for 1 with a run. Third baseman in the 6-hole, Carlos Correa. And batting third in the 7-hole, right fielder, 0 for 1, Cam Smith. And on the mound for Seattle, still Emerson Hancock. So Houston's got 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors. We have 3 runs, 2 hits, no errors. And Hancock, 3 innings pitched, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 2 Ks, 59 pitches, 38 strikes with an ERA of 2.30. But he came into the game with a 1-1 record and an ERA of under 1. It was 0.71. And again, just as wild as Totsuya Imai was, we've seen Hancock with that sweeper. And again, I had a bad feeling when I saw the first wild pitch because usually when you have a wild pitch early, typically if you keep throwing that pitch, eventually someone's going to end up scoring off of it like we did, from third base, or someone's going to eventually take advantage of it. And that's what the Astros ended up doing and tying this game up with 1 swing. And it wasn't even a home run. We had bases loaded. All we were needing is 1 more strike to get out of the inning with 2 outs, but a nice base knock, there by the Houston Astros, and Christian Vasquez with the double, scoring Correa, Paredes, and Walker. I mean, the best case scenario that they could have gotten without hitting a home run happened. But I still have very good confidence in this team that we can still get the W and get the job done. The only problem is that, for every home run Randy hits or for every out that he gets as a pop-up, again, he gives it right back to the other team with the poor defense in left field. You got to think about how many runs, score when the ball goes to Randy. And it's a lot, and I'm really hoping one day we can get someone that's a little bit, more efficient. I wish like Victor Robles could play there. I mean, we do have Lazaro Montes in the farm, but he's more of like a right fielder, and Luke Raley sometimes in right field, and Dominic Canzone can be a liability. But I'm just waiting for the day for Julio to have 2 guys, in left and right that we can trust. Whether that's Julio in center, maybe Lazaro Montes in right, and then maybe Robles in left, or vice versa. But for the time being, Randy is Randy, I guess. 0-1 pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle to Christian Walker. No balls and 2 strikes from Hancock to Walker. Sweeper and sweeper right down the middle. 0-2 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Christian Walker. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Big swing and a miss, and down goes Walker. Nice punch out there by Emerson Hancock, and that is 1 away. I did. I watched it live, and it's just kind of ironic that the bat broke on the statue, because it's kind of the irony of our season, how things have just been so shitty for us, hitting wise. And he's one of the greatest hitters of all time, and they couldn't even get the fucking statue correct. It ended up breaking, but they did replace it about an hour later, and ended up getting a better, replacement for the bat, obviously with the barrel being a little thin there. And now we got 3 statues up with Ken Griffey Jr., Edgar Martinez, and Ichiro Suzuki. Well deserved. 0-1 pitch. Low and at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike to Carlos Correa. And then obviously we know Randy Johnson started on the Montreal Expos, coming from the USC Trojans, playing on the Mariners, and then ended up going to, a few other teams, and, Diamondbacks and Yankees and whatnot, and, making a name for himself after leaving. As Correa pops up into right field, Rayleigh is there, and that is 2 away. But we are celebrating him on my birthday, like kind of Mariners Hall of Fame type of thing. And we know that Griffey and Randy Johnson are now professional photographers. But I wouldn't mind one bit, if they ended up making a Randy Johnson statue. If there was anyone that was deserving, to be the 4th guy, it's him, and he really developed to become the pitcher, that he was meant to be with us. And then obviously really started to show how great he was with the Diamondbacks and Kurt Schilling. And Mariners should have never let him go. But again, that's what happens sometimes, right? First pitch to Cam Smith, low and away. Sweeper, 78 miles an hour, 1-0 count. But they did end up doing the Ichiro statue giveaway, and I got the Griffey, I got the Edgar, and obviously I'm a little jealous. My buddy and his dad have the Ichiro, but at some point or another, I'll have to try to pick up the Cal Raleigh 60 home run bauble earlier this year, and that Ichiro statue figure as well. 1-1 pitch, a little slow dribbler to Rivas, throw to first, laser throw. Rivas has got a pretty strong arm for a little guy. Naylor has it, toe tap on the bag, and that is out number 3. Down goes Cam Smith. Let's go to the bottom of the 4th inning, and let's take the lead. Let's see who's up next here for the Seattle Mariners. Next up for the Mariners in the 8 hole, 0 for 1 with a K, the Italian stallion, Dominic Canzone. Batting second in the 9 hole, third baseman today, filling in for Brandon Donovan with flu, Leo Rivas. And batting third, 0 for 1 with a run, base on ball and a K, leadoff hitter, shortstop J.P. Crawford. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 9 subs away from 23,700. We've gained 300 plus since the season started. We're definitely on our way. All right, we're at 87 likes, 13 more to get to 100. We're almost there. I know, I saw that social media post where they showed the AI broken one. I saw that, made me laugh. 87 likes, 13 more to get to 100. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Next up is Dominic Canzone. And I really wish Canzone and Rivas would have been more patient, after that first pitching change. Because again, we could have ended up maybe squeaking out another run or two. But let's see what Dom can do here. And it just feels like the Mariner players, it's been a minute since we've hit a fucking home run, regardless if it's been at home or on the road. And hopefully we'll be able to get at least a home run or 2 here tonight before this one is over. Bottom of the 4th inning, we're knotted up at 3. First pitch in there to Dominic Canzone, high and away, 1-0 count. Good patience there by Dom. He was very overly aggressive in his first at-bat. Same thing with Rivas. Hopefully they'll be able to settle in and just understand that the Astros pitching has not been good this year. Let the game come to you. Don't swing at garbage. 1-0 pitch, low and away. Change up missing again. 2 balls and no strikes to Dominic Canzone. 2-0 pitch, right down the middle. Big swing and a miss. 4-seam fastball, 98 miles an hour. Right down the pipe. 2 balls and 1 strike to Dominic Canzone. And I don't mind him swinging when it's right down the middle. But again, when it's low and away or high and away, don't be swinging at that. 2-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and in the zone, just on the line. Probably would have been a ball, but change up 89 miles an hour by Ryan Weiss. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Dominic Canzone, who was hot at the beginning of the year with Luke Raley, but they have been fizzling lately. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. Down goes Dominic Canzone, and that is 1 away. And we need Dom and Luke Raley to get back to where they were at the beginning of the year. We used to have 4 hitters that we could trust. Luke Raley, Dominic Canzone against righties, and then obviously Brandon Donovan and Cole Young. And then now we can't even really trust Dom or Luke Raley game in and game out. But hopefully they'll get better, as the season continues, and maybe later tonight, I hope. Next up is Leo Rivas. First pitch from Weiss to Rivas. Takes a strike looking on the corner, high and away. 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour by Weiss, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, low and at the knees to Leo Rivas. 1 ball and 1 strike from Weiss to Rivas. Bottom of the 4th inning, knotted up at 3 with nobody on and 1 out. Ryan Weiss on the mound, Leo Rivas in the box. One pitch, high and away. 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour by Weiss. 2 balls and 1 strike to Leo Rivas. Come on, Leo. 2-1 pitch, takes a strike looking. High, but in the zone. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Leo Rivas. Come on, Leo. Two pitch, high and away. 4-seam fastball, 97 miles an hour there by Weiss. Count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Leo Rivas. 3-2 pitch, hard hit ball by Rivas, and it falls in the gap into right field. Nice job, Leo. Great at bat. Much better than that first at bat. Nice job, Leo. Way to bring that electricity in the 9-hole. Nice job. Beautiful hit, just like Randy's. Little blooper there in his shallow center right field. Next up, leadoff hitter, 0 for 1 with a run, base on ball, and a K, J.P. Crawford. On deck is the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. First pitch from Weiss to J.P. 4-seam fastball, low and on the line, gets called a ball. 1-0 count. Come on, JP. 1-0 pitch. Hard hit ball goes into left field, out of play. Oh, that one actually faded back behind the plate. Sometimes you can't tell until that ball ends up dropping back into the camera view. 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour there by Weiss. JP fouls it behind the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike to JP Crawford. Leo Rivas at first with 1 out. See if we can get him to second base here at some point before this inning is over. 1-1 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to J.P. Crawford. Throw to first, and Rivas is safe. And again, momentum works both ways. When things are going great, momentum will be in your favor. When it rains, it pours. And when things are going bad, sometimes it takes a while to kind of get out of the rut, and obviously the WBC didn't really help a lot of these teams, and half of our starting lineup played in that tournament. So, we got a lot of things that, haven't been going our way, but pitching and defense overall have been pretty good. It's just the hitting, And again, no one expected us to be 4-9, but I'm still very confident in this team. 2-1 pitch, low and away, change up 89 miles an hour. 3 balls and 1 strike to J.P. Crawford. 3-1 pitch, good eye there by J.P. Not swinging at that garbage, high and away. And that's going to be a 5-pitch walk again there for J.P. Crawford. And that's how we ended up starting that first inning, where we ended up scoring 3. Now we got runners at first and second. Leo Rivas at second, JP at first. And I couldn't think of a better time for Cal Raleigh to hit his, big home run here than right now. 3-run blast, if we can get it. Let's go, Big Dumper. First pitch in there to Cal Raleigh. 0-1 count. 0 for 1 with a run and a base on ball. All right, we're at 108. TJ says 92 more to get to 200. Let's get it. 0-1 pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike to the Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh. And thankfully, Houston used up all their challenges early on. But again, it's hard for us to be able to be good at all 3 phases of the game. Well, if you really want to count 4 with the bullpen, but if you go back into that 20-year slump, it was very difficult to even get one thing out of 3, pitching, bullpen, hitting, or defense. So, it definitely sucks, to be so poor at hitting, to start off the year, but we'll get better. There's no doubt about that. 1-2 pitch. Cal crushes it into left field. And foul, out of play. Goes back about 10 rows. Great souvenir for that fan. If you're talking about, out of anybody on the Mariners, if you can get a foul ball, Cal is definitely one of the top guys on that list that you would want to get besides Julio Rodriguez. But I think Brendan Donovan and Cole Young foul balls are going to be pretty coveted as well. 1-2 pitch. Cal crushes it right field. And it goes into the second deck and falls into the first deck. Foul. Crush that one. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh. One-two pitch. And Cal gets a hold of that one again behind the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh. Bottom of the 4th inning, runners at first and second. Rivas at second, JP at first with 1 out. We're knotted up at 3. We scored 3 runs in the first. Astros had a meltdown with their pitcher. We had a meltdown with Hancock in the second, and they scored 3. And again, it's the Astros and Mariners for you. We hate each other. So nothing really surprises me, when we play this team. But it's definitely one of those teams I really look forward to playing. Just like I look forward to usually playing the Yankees, even though I know it's tough to beat them, but again, when you play the Astros, the Rangers, the Angels, and the Athletics in the division, it's always fun because it's going to be close. Records go out the window, and it definitely shows, the competitive fire, in the roster. 1-2 pitch, low and at the knees. Good eye there by Cal. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh. Be patient here, Cal. Two-two pitch. Check swing. Did he go? And he does not. Good eye. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh. Ryan Weiss on the mound. Big Dumper in the box. Come on, Cal. This is pitch 10. 3-2 pitch. Cal, hard hit ball. Floater into right field, and it falls. Leo tags up. Run, Leo. And he's safe. That crack of the bat, I thought, oh, God, that's gone for sure. But then the wind brought it down. Cal flies out to shallow right field, but at least we end up getting that runner to tag. And now we have runners at first and third for Julio Rodriguez. And again, obviously a 3-run blast would be great, but we can't get greedy. At this point, we'll take an RBI single to go up 4-3 if we can get it. But if he gets a pitch down the middle and he can get a home run, how sweet would that be? Let's go, Julio. And we know Julio always struggles to start the year. We were hoping that this would finally be the year that he doesn't struggle, but everyone is struggling, including him. But we know after the All-Star break, he'll be one of the top 10 players in MLB more than likely, like he has been in recent years. And he still is one of the best defensive center fielders in the game. And hopefully we'll be able to get a little magic here out of Julio Rodriguez. First pitch is high and inside, 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour by Weiss, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, Julio. Line drive into right field. Damn it. And that is out number 3. And we leave 2 stranded there. 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors for the Astros. 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors for the Mariners. And a missed opportunity by Seattle there. End of the 4th inning, 3-3 Astros and Seattle. Let's see who's up next here for Houston in the top of the 5th. Next up for the Stros, 0 for 1 with a K, center fielder in the 8-hole, Joey Loperfido. Batting second, 1 for 1 with 3 RBIs, catcher Christian Vasquez, who's been the MVP for the Stros in this game so far. And batting third, leadoff hitter, shortstop, 0 for 2, Jeremy Pena. All right, we're at 111 likes with 171 in the room. We need 89 more to get to 200. Let's get it, baby. And we're sitting at 7 on the Dono train, 93 to go. End of the 4th inning, knotted up at 3. And we gained 3 subs since the last commercial break. Appreciate you. 6 subs to go to 23,700. And we only needed 15 to get to 23,700 as we started this day today. We only need 6 more subs out of 171 people, and we'll be at 23,700, and we've gained already 300 plus subs since the beginning of the season. And Randy Johnson, number retirement ceremony night on my birthday, May 2nd versus the Royals. And me and my best friend, we had an opportunity. We could have gone to that game. I've already seen the Royals. I ended up getting my Julio Rodriguez rookie foul ball when Bobby Witt Jr. was a rookie, a few years back in 2022. But again, we'd rather go to the 4th of July game against the Blue Jays. We've never seen the Blue Jays before. And there's a nice rivalry that's kind of been heating up between both of those rosters. And we've been going to the 4th of July game the last 3 years. So, we want to keep that tradition alive. First pitch in there from Loperfido, low and out the knees, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Hancock to Loperfido. 1-1 pitch, high and inside with a 4-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour by Emerson Hancock. 2 balls and 1 strike to Joey Loperfido. 2-1 pitch, low and at the knees. Count now is 3 balls and 1 strike from Emerson Hancock to Joey Loperfido. Three-one pitch, a line drive up the middle, and JP dives but is not in time, and that goes to Julio Rodriguez off the 2-hop, and a nice base knock there by Joey Loperfido. Sinker 93 miles an hour crushed there by Loperfido, singles to center. Next up in the 9-hole, catcher Christian Vasquez, and hopefully we can get a strikeout or a double play, or vice versa. Strikeout first, then double play, or double play and then strikeout. Loperfido takes off as Vasquez fouls that behind the plate, 0-1 count. Yeah, I mean, overall, Emerson, usually in the past was like, oh God, him and Logan Evans were very hit or miss, last season. And, we know Bryce Miller, normally is the starter, but with him being hurt, I don't really know what to expect when he comes back. But, hopefully we get a good version of Bryce. And again, we had 4 out of the 5 starters injured last year besides Castillo. And obviously we already have Bryce Miller injured, to start the year, but hopefully, we don't have too many more injuries, but it is a part of the game. Throw to first to Naylor, and he is safe. Loperfido. First pitch was fouled off high and inside to Vasquez, 0-1 count. And then the 0-1 pitch was low and away with that wild sweeper by Emerson Hancock, 78 miles an hour low and away. And again, if I was, Cal, I wouldn't be calling that sweeper anymore. 1-1 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to Christian Vasquez. Yeah, well, there's a reason why people hate the Astros, but I feel Mariner fans and, teams within the division hate them more just based off the cheating. 2-1 pitch in there for a strike. But there's plenty of, other, fans, even National League fans that, don't like the Astros, Dodger fans, and many, many others. It's kind of a league-wide thing. Jose Altuve is definitely public enemy number 1. And, a lot of Astro fans, even to this day, can't admit that cheating happened. And, that's another part of it. It's like if you are a fan of a team that ended up doing something shady, own up to it. But, I guess some people have integrity and some do not. But I'll tell you this, if I was a fan of a team and that team cheated, I would be so embarrassed to be a fan of a team that was like that, because that lives on forever. Whether it's a Red Sox fan, a Patriot fan, an Astro fan, or any team that's associated with cheating. Yeah, you can end up having championships, but your shit is fucking tainted forever. 2-2 pitch, low and away. But again, for those people that won in that fan base, they don't care. They say, oh, we won a championship. That's all that matters. But in reality, your shit is tainted. And they know it, but they just don't want to admit it. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Christian Vasquez. No, Altuve was one of the ringleaders of the cheating. Are you kidding me? Didn't you watch the World Series back then? I mean, they had fucking buzzers on their chest. They had the garbage cans, and then the Red Sox used the Apple Watches, even though they didn't really get the same type of treatment as the Astros. But there was a number of guys that cheated. 3-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, throw to second base, safe. Damn it. Down goes Vasquez on strikes, and Cal with a laser to second, but just not in time. But they are looking at it right now to see if we're going to challenge here. Let's look at the tag from Cole Young here. Does he come off the bag? First angle, I don't see it. All right. Ooh, okay, so first angle looks safe by a mile. Second angle, he looks like he gets tapped on the helmet. But I mean, it's really close and hard to kind of tell. Does he actually get the glove on the helmet? Right there, it does. Right before the hand slides into the bag. But the first initial replay, safe by a mile. Second and third replay, he looks out. But again, we will see what the replay crew call. But it definitely looks like he got him on the batting helmet. But you couldn't see that angle on the first replay. You just see him get in safe. And, I'm like, what is this? But as you look at the slow down replay, it does look like he slightly gets him on the batting helmet before the hand goes into the bag. But will it be enough visual evidence to get that out? And I sure as hell hope so. Especially when you get these plays that are like 50-50, you just don't really know, what the replay booth is going to call. Is it going to be safe? Is he going to be out? And we just got to be patient and we'll see here. I mean, and it's not like he gets the whole glove to make it like definitively, like you can see it go down, and touch the helmet. I mean, it's kind of like a glance, on the top, so, and it, nice. And it looks like they have enough evidence to call him out. Nice job by Cal Raleigh. And again, we know, Cal definitely has that laser. Much better throwing guys out than Garver, but even Garver once in a while will get a guy, and we go from 1 out to 2 outs. I love that. Great job there by Seattle. Good defense for the Mariners, and that's kind of a given. Nice job. Next up, 0 for 2, shortstop, Jeremy Pena. First pitch is fouled off behind the plate by Pena, 0-1 count. I mean, I've met a few Astro fans that are like legit, and, they're kind of real with the situation with what happened, but they are kind of far and few between. 0-1 pitch. Fouled off himself. Hopefully he's okay. No balls and 2 strikes to Jeremy Pena. But there definitely are certain fan bases that are more intelligent overall, than others. Some are more passionate than others. There's definitely some that are more delusional than others and whatnot, and obviously there's some that spend more money than others, like the Dodgers. And there's a reason why they, end up being in contention, but the Yankees usually spend money too. But again, one team wins championships, the Dodgers, and then the Yankees, not so much. 0-2 pitch. Low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Jeremy Pena. Now, if the Yankees would spend more money, maybe they would have been able to win, because again, when they ended up having Juan Soto with Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge, that's what you need. They need to have another superstar with Judge. And again, you saw how far they were able to get with Soto and Judge. But then once Soto left, the Yankees left as well. I mean, they were still good, but not great. And that's kind of the difference. Their pitching has been getting beat up over the years, and they still have like some pretty good players, but they need like big superstar players, 2 or 3 of them, to pair up with Judge. And, unfortunately, they were only able to have Soto for a brief amount of time. Now, if Soto would have stayed, then the Yankees would definitely be another team that you would think, okay, they'll probably end up getting to another World Series, but can they beat the Dodgers? And obviously they weren't able to do it, even though people thought the Yankees pitching and defense was going to be better, but again, Ohtani ended up winning it for him 2 years ago, with better pitching and better defense, especially when you get a guy that can pitch 3 times in 7 games in the World Series. And then we obviously had Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who did what Ohtani did the year before, dominant in the playoffs, pitched 3 times in 7 games, and sometimes that ends up being the difference, the pitching and the defense. And the Blue Jays out-hit the Dodgers, but again, it just wasn't enough. 1-2 pitch. Pitch is low and at the knees. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jeremy Pena. Sweeper getting away there from Hancock. Top of the 5th inning. Nobody on with 2 outs, and we're still knotted up at 3. 2-2 pitch. Popped up. And out of play. Count still remains 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jeremy Pena. All right, we won't have any duck slander here on the channel. You don't need to bring that negativity here. It doesn't matter if it's Ducks or Huskies or Beavers or Cougars. And down goes Pena. And that is out number 3. You live and you learn. Let's see who's up next here in the bottom of the 5th. For the Seattle Mariners. Next up, 0 for 1 with a base on ball, first baseman Josh Naylor. Batting second, 1 for 1 with an RBI, left fielder Randy Arozarena. And batting third, 0 for 2 with an RBI and a K, in the 6-hole, right fielder Luke Raley. I mean, we're not going to take any slander from the Sonics or the Blazers. We're not going to take any slander from the Huskies, the Cougars, the Ducks, or the Beavers. It's not going to happen. Kraken, Mariners, it's not going to happen here. You want to be negative? This is not the channel for you. You live and you learn. Go to the bottom of the 5th inning, still knotted up at 3. Let's take the lead already. All right, 2 more subs since the last commercial break. 4 subs to go to 23,700. We're almost there. All right, we're at 116 likes, 84 to 200. Well, considering they're one of the worst teams in baseball right now, yeah. I mean, if you want to be negative about your own team there, that's something that is up to you. First pitch there by Josh Naylor, fouled off into third base in foul territory and bounces into the crowd. Thank God. 0-1 count. Ryan Weiss on the mound, Josh Naylor in the box. And I know that's probably maddening for you, Judah, seeing how bad the Red Sox have been, but you probably never thought they would be one of the worst teams in baseball. And same thing with us. For the Mariners, we never anticipated having one of the worst records, but I think the talent level with our team compared to yours is a little different. But I wish you the best of luck, for the rest of the season, but I know it's been very hard to watch. And Naylor with a nice dribbler right up the middle into center field. Nice job there by Josh Naylor. Nice job, Nails. Nice single to center. Next up in the 5-hole, left fielder Randy Arozarena. First pitch, high and inside. Randy has to dodge out of the way. Four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour by Ryan Weiss, 1-0 count. It's going to be exciting once the Sonics come back because Durant's contract will be up by then, and he's already publicly stated in interviews that he would love to end his career in Seattle. How cool would that be? Getting drafted by the Sonics and still getting a good player, even at an old age. He'll be better than LeBron, at this stage of his career late, and still could end up putting up 20 to 25 points and 5-6 rebounds, 5, 6, 7, 8 assists. Still could be a productive 25-5 or a better type of player. And again, that would be amazing. I would love to be able to see Kevin Durant end his career in Seattle. I think that would be so sweet. 1-0 pitch, high and inside. That one almost hits Randy. 2 balls and no strikes to Randy Arozarena. Yeah, there's only, as far as a few days ago, there was only 3 teams that had an above 500 record, right? It was the Yankees, the Guardians, and then the Astros. And then the Astros went on their losing streak with the Colorado Rockies and got swept in 4 games. And then the Texas Rangers were above 500. But yeah, American League has only had 3 to 4 teams above 500, normally 3 out of 15 teams. And then the National League, as far as a couple days ago, they had like 8 or 9 teams out of 15 above 500. So 3-1 pitch, hard hit ball, deep left field, back, see ya! Upper deck home run by Randy Arozarena. Let's go! Let's go! 5-3 Seattle. Let's go. And that made up for him giving up, a lot of these base knocks, right, that he's had that are ground balls into left field. We know he's not the greatest defender in left, and he made up for it here tonight. Nice job, Randy. 16 hard hit balls this season, and that leads the team. And thankfully, that one ended up being a no-doubter. That ended up going into the upper deck. Nice job, Randy. I'm still gonna, be critical of him, obviously on ground balls and then the lazy throws into the infield, but this is something that Randy will do, from time to time, as he starts playing the air guitar there with the Trident. And, he's still good, to hit somewhere between 20 to 35 home runs on the regular. It's just so maddening on how many runs he gives up on ground balls. But I'm going to be a little bit, I'm going to feel a little bit better after that upper deck home run. Nice job. 1-1 pitch to Rayleigh, high and away. Sweeper, 83 miles an hour to Luke Rayleigh, and it'd be great if Luke can get a nuke. Another guy that is definitely overdue, but we have a lot of guys that are overdue for home runs this year. 2-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Luke Rayleigh. Nice job there by Randy Arozarena with a 2-run blast in the upper deck, giving us some electricity. And hopefully Luke Rayleigh will be able to get a hit at some point before this one is over as well. 2-2 pitch. Low and at the knees. Count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Luke Rayleigh. Alec in the building. What's good? And that was probably the deepest home run that we've seen all year. Or one of the. We haven't really had too many runs or home runs for that matter. But that was definitely a no-doubter. He crushed the hell out of the ball. And as soon as he hit it, he was looking up like he could see how high it was going. Upper deck, too. Beautiful swing, beautiful follow-through. And, again, just like in the, the WBC, where we got to see a lot of passion and energy, from a lot of those teams. And obviously he was representing Team Mexico in that tourney. Down goes Luke Rayleigh on strikes. Big swing and a miss, and that is one away. Next up is Cole Young. Come on, Cole. First pitch to Young is a ball. 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch. Fouls it behind the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike to Cole Young. Come on, Cole. Cole has been the second best hitter and the best defender. He saved us, 5-6 runs so far this season, and he's been one of the best defenders at second overall. He's been phenomenal. The best overall player for Seattle offense and defense so far to start the year. 1-1 pitch. And we get another ball there from Ryan Weiss. 2 balls and 1 strike to Cole Young. And again, it's been a minute since we've been able to get to a point where we've, got to 5, which is normally the standard for us, 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits. But when you end up being the worst hitting team in baseball and you got a 4-9 record, offense, non-existent, hitting non-existent, right? Pitching amazing, top 3, bullpen really good, usually in the top 10, and defense has been great overall, besides a few errors here and there. And that ends up being a 5-pitch walk to Cole Young. Alec with a 5er, and looks like we might have a pitching change. Appreciate you. Another $5 holla. Ryan Weiss is done. And another $5 holla there from Alec. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Next up is Dominic Canzone, the Italian Stallion. All right, so we're on our first pitcher, Emerson Hancock. They're on their 4th pitcher already. But again, Imai ended up getting rocked for 37 pitches, 17 strikes, and we put up 3 runs in the first, and they pulled him. And that definitely gave us the momentum. And we'll see who they decide to bring in here after Ryan Weiss. But let's see if Dominic Canzone can get a little bit of magic here. Home runs are contagious, so let him know. Yeah, and again, with Emerson Hancock and Luis Castillo last year, it was very hit or miss, and most of the time it was miss. But so far, for the most part, they both have been pretty good, and overall, the pitching has been good. Logan Gilbert stunk in his first 2 starts, but his 3rd start was good. And again, if we just were able to get run support, then maybe Logan wouldn't have even lost those first 2 starts. Maybe he would have only lost 1, even though he was off. But again, you just don't really know how things are going to go to start a season. But even though the record has been Bootios, 4-9, 3-4 at home, pitching, has been great. Defense has been great. Hitting has been abysmal, and no one would ever expect us to be the worst hitting team in baseball, but we're slowly but surely getting better. And as we get more warmer weather, and when we start playing, teams that we should be able to take advantage of that maybe don't have as much left-handed pitching, eventually, we're going to get on a nice little hot streak, but you just got to take it, 1 game at a time. And again, the most runs that you can give up as a starting pitcher and feel comfortable is 3. 3 is like the most, but even 3 is too much when you can't hit, but you usually want 0. If you give up 1 or 2, you feel really good. But if you give up 3, that's the most. If you give up more than 3, more times than not, it turns into an L, unless, they end up having a meltdown with one of their guys in the pen. And, that sometimes is something that happens. All right, France is coming in. JP France is coming in for Ryan Weiss. First pitch is low and away to Dominic Canzone. 1-0 count. .1-0 pitch takes a strike right down the middle to Dominic Canzone. 1 ball and 1 strike with a runner at first and 1 out. .1-1 pitch, hard hit ball by Dominic Canzone, and it goes out of play. JP France on the mound. Dominic Canzone in the box. Only France that we like is Ty. Little dribbler, and it ends up going behind the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Dominic Canzone. One-two pitch to Canzone, low and at the knees. Good patience there. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Dominic Canzone. JP France on the mound. Dominic Canzone in the box. I think I like this one better. Rocking the goggles. Throw to first, and he is safe. Andrew in the building. What's good? 2-2 pitch. High and away. And Young ends up getting called out at second, damn it. And again, we haven't been very good at stealing bags. You know, we've been falling asleep at first base, and we haven't really been able to get good jumps, you know, on catchers. And unfortunately, even though he tried to jump out of the way, you know, and ended up, you know, missing that tag and getting in there, but good effort there, though. But off the bag there, Cole Young. Well, Pena's pushing his fucking foot off with the mitt, but caught stealing Cole Young, and that is 2 away. Pitches low and at the knees, and that ends up being a walk there for Dominic Canzone. I mean, I don't know, Judah. I mean, again, normally it's like if you're a top 8 seed, but then you got the play-in for the 9 and the 10. For me, it's like, Jesus Christ, dude. It's like you only have 30 teams. It's, you know, only a few that miss it. And so, I mean, I guess it's cool for teams like that if they do get in, but it doesn't, it's kind of like, is it really, you know, a playoff? You know, if you're a 9 or a 10, it's, you know, it's almost like, I don't know, honorable mention, and they're just kind of throwing you in there because they've changed the format, you know. But for me, it's always been, you know, top 8 is like you've earned it, and then, you know, 9 and 10 they've added it as, you know, as recent memory. But I guess it's also like, do you count the Lakers COVID championship a real championship? I mean, even Anthony Davis says, I don't know if that was really a championship. I don't think it was, you know, and he's even saying that as a player who won it. So kind of like that, you know, it's like, it's cool that you got something, but did you really earn it? You know? And I mean, I'm happy, you know, any time the Blazers can, you know, make a little, you know, make a little bit of movement, but, you know, I don't know. 1-0 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and no strikes from JP France to Leo Rivas. You know, but again, we'll see how things go for the Blazers moving forward with the new ownership. But I do like Donovan Clingan and what he's been able to do. And, you know, we've had a lot of guys improve, but we've also had a lot of injuries as well. And I love me some Denny Advia, and Dame will be back next year. And that'll help Scoot Henderson a lot. 2-0 pitch, high and away. 3 balls and no strikes to Leo Rivas. But I don't know. You know, I definitely prefer, you know, Mariner baseball and college football and NFL, you know, over hockey and basketball. You know, I even like NASCAR a little bit more than those, but, you know. 3-0 pitch, high and away. And that is another walk there for the Seattle Mariners. Thank you, JP France. Now we got runners at first and second. And let's see if JP Crawford can get a little bit of magic here in the box. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. JP France on the mound, JP Crawford in the box. You don't have too many JP versus JP matchups in baseball. First pitch right down the middle from France to Crawford. Strike looking with the cutter. 0-1 count. 87 miles an hour there by JP France. And JP, little dribbler, throw to first, and that is out number 3. We leave 2 stranded, but Randy Arosarena makes up for his poor defense in left field with a no-doubter 2-run blast in the upper deck, and that's exactly what we needed. 5-3 Mariners. It's like the Kraken, they started off pretty strong and they definitely kind of fizzled, towards the end of the year. But as long as you're seeing improvement year in and year out, but I was really hoping the Kraken, would be able to, be better than their record and, and definitely get into the playoffs. And as you're looking at the standings, there's a kind of a big log jam in that particular division. But, it seems like they're starting to get a little bit better, the Kraken and the Blazers. And then we'll have the Sonics to be able to root for as well. And it's kind of unfortunate with the Washington State Cougars and the Oregon State Beavers getting left out of the Big Ten and whatnot. And I just kind of wish the Pac-12 was still in existence, but it's all about greed and money, unfortunately. All right, let's go to the top of the 6th inning and see who's up next here for the Astros. Next up for the Astros, 0-for-1 with a base on ball, left fielder in the 2-hole, Yordan Alvarez. Batting second, 0-for-2 with a K. In the 3-hole, DHing Jose Altuve. And batting third in the 4-hole, second baseman, 1-for-2 with a run, Isaac Paredes. All right, we're 5 subs away from 23,700. We're almost there. All right, we're at 126 likes, 74 to get to 200. And Hancock is done. And we're at 12 on the Dono train, 88 to go. 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks, 88 pitches, first pitch strikes, 14 for 19. And honestly, it was just that one inning where he gave up, that big hit with bases loaded. But other than that, he's been good, and sometimes that's all it takes, is to have one half inning and be a little shaky. And it was that goddamn sweeper, that got wild and away from him. And if him and Cal were on the same page and stopped throwing that pitch, maybe they only score 1 or 2, but now we got Gabe Spire in and hopefully he gets the job done. 1-0 pitch, little blooper, and that drops into shallow center field and Julio scoops it up and a nice base knock there from Yordan Alvarez. Come on, Gabe Spire. And Gabe has been very hit or miss, not only in the WBC, but spring training as well as the start to the season. We want the good Gabe, not the bad Gabe. Gabe is typically a guy that'll get an out and then give up a home run, and again, whether it ends up being a strikeout, pop up, ground out, but normally he'll get an out and then give up a big home run. And that was the case in the WBC, got 1 out, gave up a home run. 2 games later in the WBC, he got 1 out, gave up a home run, went into spring training, got 1 out, gave up a home run, and even did it in the regular season. And again, it's been a little messy for Gabe Spire. He used to be a top 3 guy in the pen, and now he's probably not. 0-1 pitch there from Jose Altuve, shallow center field. Julio is there. And that is 1 away. Because obviously it would go normally Bizardo, Brash, and then probably Jose Ferrer, and then maybe Gabe Spire as the 4th best. But we need to see some consistency, between the 2 lefties, Ferrer and Gabe Spire. But I feel like with Bizardo and Brash, they're the most trustworthy. And hopefully that trust will be earned, for Spire and Ferrer, because we definitely need guys that we can trust in the pen. Carlos Vargas is injured. Casey Legomina is terrible. And there's a few other guys that are kind of terrible as well. And then Cooper Criswell, I don't really trust him either. Gabe Spire on the mound. First pitch, takes a strike, looking with a sinker on the line to Isaac Paredes. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, gets him in the foot. Come on, Gabe. Christ. And now we got runners at first and second, and this is the type of shit that I'm talking about. It's like we just ended up getting the lead, with that Randy Arozarena 2-run blast, and Gabe is a guy, that in a half inning could erase our 2-run lead in a matter of like 5 minutes. So hopefully we'll be able to get a double play here and get out of this inning. But I don't trust Gabe at all. I really don't. I mean, I've been watching him very closely in the WBC as well as in spring training and to start the season. And for a guy that has potential to be a top 3 guy in the pen, it's frustrating, But again, when he's on, he's on. But lately, he hasn't been on. He's been more wild and off. First pitch to Christian Walker in there for a strike. Slider, 84 miles an hour. 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, hard hit ball towards third base and foul. No balls and 2 strikes to Christian Walker. Got to find a way to get a double play here and to hang on to this 2-run lead. We don't want this game to be 3-0, 3-3, 5-3, 5-5, because at some point we're going to end up, possibly being down, and who knows if we'll be able to, catch up at that point. We definitely have had the momentum, so far, with pitching, defense, and hitting, and we want to make sure we keep it that way. They're on a 4-game losing streak. They got swept by the Rockies. We're on a 5-game losing streak. So, their pitching has been terrible, right? Their hitting has been great. Our hitting has been terrible. Our pitching has been great. So it's the complete opposite. So you knew something had to give going into this game today. Come on, you Pat McAfee lookalike. Get the job done. Time is called by Christian Walker. Top of the 6th inning with runners at first and second and 1 out. Please give me a slow dribbler up the middle for a double play. Unless he's able to get a strikeout pop-up or strikeout ground out, whatever. I don't care however you do it, but it would be really sweet to get a slow dribbler up the middle to Cole Young or to J.P. Crawford, throw to Naylor, get out of this inning. 0-2 pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Christian Walker, but the last thing that we need is a home run, an RBI, or a fucking walk, or him to hit Walker. Because if it ends up being bases loaded, you best believe that the game will be tied probably sooner than later. 1-2 pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Spire to Walker. And that's how it goes, Jim. Just like that. 2-2 pitch. Pitch is inside. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Spire to Walker. Come on, Gabe. And we got Edward Bizardo warming up, who normally is very trustworthy like Matt Brash. 3-2 pitch. Little dribbler up the middle. Double play. Throw to first. Got him! You ask for a double play, and you get a double play. My ESP is on point, and we got it, baby. And again, sometimes you need a little bit of those sport gods to be tuning in, and you ask for it, and then you get it. And again, there's got to be, games where we get ourselves in jams, and we have to be able to get those double plays so that way that we can find a way to potentially be in the game late. Great job by the Seattle defense again. And again, you ask for it and you get it. Nice job by the Seattle defense. Another double play. Trident's up. Huge. Because think about it. If he would have walked him or hit him, realistically, that momentum would have carried over, and maybe we're down 6-5. And who knows if we could come back at that point, even though we put up 5 so far. So I still don't trust you, Gabe. I don't trust you. But thankfully, we got that double play. Let's see who's up next here for the Mariners. And let's see if we can add on another run here in the bottom of the 6th. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. And I would love to see some more home runs, and home runs usually come in pairs or in triples. So we got the big one from Randy, but we got a couple innings left. Could we get another home run or 2? I sure as hell hope so. Next up, 0 for 2 with a run and a base on ball. Catcher, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. And after the Joe Adele game, robbing Cal, robbing Naylor, robbing JP, I honestly think if those would have been homers, these guys would have homered already by now. Again, homers are contagious, and it's just unfortunate that stalled the momentum for Cal, JP, and Naylor. But again, at some point, they're going to get going. Batting second in the 3-hole, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. And batting third in the 4-hole, first baseman, it's Nails, Josh Naylor. And I'm really, really, really happy that the Mariners, ended up playing well up to this point for my best friend and his dad that are there for today's game and tomorrow's game. You got to think, out of all the games to go to and how terrible we've been, 4-9 record, this is probably the best game that we played, so far, one of the best between the 4 wins that we've had. But, to get off to that 3-0 start, and hopefully we'll be able to pour on a few more runs before this one is over. I would love for us to be able to get to like 8. I know that might be a little aggressive, but if we get a home run, it won't be. 1-0 pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and no strikes to the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. 2-0 pitch. Are we getting a meltdown here by JP France? Low and at the knees with a cutter, 87 miles an hour. That's music to my ears. 3 balls and no strikes to big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Come on, Cal. 3-0 pitch, and that's a 4-pitch walk. Yeah, but even though their pitching is terrible, when you're the worst hitting team, sometimes it doesn't matter. We went against the Rangers and Nathan Eovaldi. He was 0-2 with an ERA of almost 12, and he still almost put up 10 Ks on us. So just because pitching is bad, that doesn't mean that the Mariners are going to be bad, or good. You don't really know. More times or not, even when you get a shitty pitcher, that doesn't necessarily mean the Mariners are going to win. It's like, I think we definitely got in our own heads. Little dribbler towards third base and foul. Because, hell, if you can't even get a hit on a guy that's got an ERA of 12, again, I'm glad that we were able to do it today. But, just because the Astros were bad, the Rangers had a few bad ones, and we still, we're looking like the old Seattle Mariners that used to strike out 15, 20 times a game. And I'm glad we're not in that era anymore. Now, batting averages are incredibly low. Got a lot of guys below 200, but they'll, slowly but surely, be above 200. And then hopefully we'll have a few guys, other than Brandon Donovan and Cole Young, closer to that 300 number. 0-1 pitch to Julio, crushes it into right field, out of play. Cutter 80 miles an hour by JP France. No balls and 2 strikes with a runner at first. Cal Raleigh with a walk in the bottom of the 6th. 5-3 Mariners with no outs. Julio in the box. JP France on the mound. Julio pops it up. Shallow left field. And that is 1 away. Next up in the 4-hole, first baseman Josh Naylor. On deck in the 5-hole, so far one of the heroes today with the upper deck home run, left fielder Randy Arozarena. And I like the City Connects. If you look good, you feel good, and you play good. And again, I know when they first debuted, not everyone was on board with the black pants and whatnot. But again, I do love the City Connect jerseys. They do need to bring back the grays, though. I would love to be able to see those again. But obviously, we're wearing like the steelhead jerseys on Sundays, and we got the whites, and you got the creams, and the teal. So every Mariner fan has got their favorite jersey and whatnot. But I just really love the color blue with the yellow with the City Connects. And if I didn't like it, I wouldn't have bought a Cal Raleigh that I have on right now. 0-1 pitch. Pitch is high and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike to Josh Naylor. But I got a Julio White. I got a couple Griffies, but I got a Sohn Gray Griffey, as well as a few others. And then obviously the only Cal that I have is this blue stitched City Connect, which I absolutely love. 1-1 pitch. Hard hit ball towards first base and foul. But my most expensive and maybe one of my favorite ones is I got a Ken Griffey Jr. 1997 Rawlings. It's kind of like a Mitchell and Ness jersey. Back in the day, they had, different, companies that ended up having, their exclusive rights. But when they ended up wearing the vest with no sleeves, where Griffey wore that in like 95, 96, 97. And I actually have the matching turtleneck that says Mariners on it, and I've never seen the turtleneck available on eBay or anywhere. And that set is worth over $500, and that's probably the most coveted, as far as old school jerseys that are stitched. And I'll definitely never get rid of that. Very rare item, but I don't even like to wear it. I think I've worn it maybe once, twice, and I usually don't wear it outside. So bottom of the 6th inning, but maybe I'll wear it on stream one of these games, if we start playing a little bit better. But it definitely gets a little hot with the turtleneck, and the jersey itself, but it is nice. Actually, it's Russell Athletic, not Rawlings. That was the provider back in the day in the 90s. 1-2 pitch, and down goes Naylor on strikes, and that is 2 away. All right, next up, in the 5 hole, left fielder Randy Arozarena. Let's see if Randy can hit another 2-run blast. Come on, Randy. First pitch is inside for a strike from JP France to Randy Arozarena, 0-1 count. But it's nice to be able to see kind of the evolution of the jersey game for Seattle. 0-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from France to Arozarena. Come on, Randy. Bottom of the 6th inning, 5-3 Mariners, and we haven't been able to say that often. 1-1 pitch. Randy, a little slow dribbler towards third base. Throw to second, and they get the force out on Cal, and that is out number 3. All right, let's go to the top of the 7th inning. 3 runs, 5 hits, no errors for the Astros. 5 runs, 5 hits, no errors for the Mariners. And based on being 4-9 and only 3-4 at home, it feels really good to have the lead. But again, it won't be, great until we actually get the W here. But at least we have a 2-run lead, but hopefully we'll get a couple more runs before this one is over. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Let's see who's up next here for the Houston Astros in the top of the 7th. In the top of the 7th, 1 for 2 with a run. In the 6th hole, third baseman Carlos Correa. Probably wishes he never left Houston. Batting second in the 7th hole, 0 for 2 right fielder Cam Smith. And batting third in the 8th hole, center fielder 1 for 2 with a K, Joey Loperfido. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. And we've already hit 100, so we're trying to hit 200 on the likes. And sitting at 12 on the dono train, 88 to go. And it looks like our boy Eli, that I just checked on the socials here, Eli with a 50 for Randy, my boy. $50 dono for our boy Vapor. Shout out to our boy Vapor with a $50 dono for that Randy home run. Shout out to our boy Vapor. Eli, you're the man. I appreciate you. There we go. So that puts us at 62. 38 to go to hit the dono goal. Thank you so much, Vapor. Shout out to Eli. All right, we're at 62 on the dono train, 38 to a hundo. Let's go. First pitch from Bizardo to Carlos Correa, fouls it off, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, high and inside with that sinker. 95 miles an hour there by Edward Bizardo. I got to pull up the photo here quickly. 1 ball and 1 strike to Carlos Correa. And Bizardo, used to be one of the worst guys in the pen prior to last year. He was just as bad as like Taylor Saucedo, believe it or not. But he worked really hard with the catchers and himself, and got his game to a level where he ended up being even better than Brash and Spire. And the Mariners challenge, and we get a strike there. There we go, overturned. I like that. Mariners have been doing a great job here today on the ABS, and Houston lost their challenges in the first inning, so we love that. Edward Bizardo on the mound, Carlos Correa in the box. 1-2 pitch, crushed into right field, out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Bizardo to Correa. And my boy Brooks is such a talented individual. He's going to end up being like, famous, well-known. He's an up-and-coming producer, here in the Pacific Northwest. I used to work with him in sales, and we've been friends for a long time. And out of all the people that have extreme talent, on the phones that I've worked with, in our big friend group that we've had, he definitely, I felt, was the most talented out of them all. And we definitely have supported each other in our dreams. And again, anything that I can do to, take his dream to another level, I'm definitely willing to do that, and vice versa. And again, it's just a matter of time before, a big artist pays him a good chunk, for a beat, and then he may not have to have a regular job anymore, and then he can full-time just make beats. And that's what eventually is going to happen for him. He just has to be very diligent, patient, and obviously have that confidence in himself, which I know he does. 2-2 pitch. Hard hit ball into shallow center field. Julio is there, and that is 1 away. And he's working with a few local small artists in the Pacific Northwest, but really all it takes, is one famous artist, to buy a beat from you for $5 to $10 grand or more. And then that sets you up for, maybe a whole year or 6 months where you may not need to work. And then, then if you start making beats every day, and then that person ends up buying another one, then, you get 1 or 2 beats sold by someone that's well known. And, then you're on the right path, for superstardom, which I know that he'll be able to get. First pitch from Bizardo to Cam Smith, takes a strike looking high and inside, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, takes another strike looking with a sweeper, 83 miles an hour right down the middle. No balls and 2 strikes from Bizardo to Smith. And obviously, being in the Pacific Northwest, it's hard to break out if you're a rapper, a singer, or a beat maker. It's not easy, let alone if you're doing it anywhere in the United States. But it's definitely harder to break through in the Pacific Northwest. There's not really a whole lot of support, from clubs or promoters or other people. So it's pretty much, me and him, and again, I'm going to do whatever it takes to be able to make him succeed besides what he does himself. 1-2 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Bizardo to Smith. But it's always great to be able to see your friends, doing something special. And, a lot of people don't have dreams and goals. And it's great to see someone work hard for their dream, just like myself. 2-2 pitch, fouls off. And that goes into right field, out of play there by Cam Smith. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Bizardo to Smith. Cam Smith in the box. 2-2 pitch, check swing. Did he go? And he did not. Count now is full for Edward Bizardo. Bizardo on the mound, Cam Smith in the box. Top of the 7th inning, 5-3 Mariners. Nobody on with 1 out. 3-2 pitch, popped up. Should be a routine play here in shallow right field. Luke Raley is there, and that is 2 away. Nice job by Luke. Cam Smith flies out to right. Next up in the 8-hole, center fielder Joey Loperfido. Bizardo on the mound, Loperfido in the box. Yeah, but also Sir Mix-a-Lot had a lot of help, and if you actually know famous people, that helps too, And there's a few smaller local artists, and people, obviously if you're from Oregon or Washington, there's some big names that have made it. Jimi Hendrix was, from Seattle, and, you had Nirvana and, Kurt Cobain, and, if we're talking about different genres of music and whatnot, and, there's been a few, Amine, and, some in the Pacific Northwest, but obviously more, famous people usually come out of California if they move down there, but, representing for Oregon and Washington is special. And that is popped up there by Lo Perfido. Julio is there, and that is out number 3. But it's one thing to be a singer or a rapper or a musician, but it's even harder to break through if you're a beat maker. Like I said, if you're a songwriter or a beat maker, it's incredibly hard, to make it out of the gutter and to make a name for yourself. And that's why you have to, really have that passion and have the talent. And then eventually, someone will notice, what you're doing as long as you don't quit. Let's go to the bottom of the 7th inning and see who's up next here for the Seattle Mariners. I mean, hell, I've been doing this for 14 years, and there's people that didn't believe in me. I've been doing this 10 years on YouTube. We're almost at 25,000 subs. I'm almost at 6 million views, but sometimes you got to bet on yourself. If you have the passion and the talent and the grind, even if haters are hating, you got to be able to keep doing your thing no matter what people say. Let's see who's up next here in the bottom of the 7th for the Seattle Mariners. Next up for Seattle, 0 for 3 with an RBI and 2 Ks, right fielder in the 6th hole, Luke Raley. Batting second, 0 for 1 with 2 base on balls and a K, second baseman Cole Young. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a base on ball and 2 Ks, the Italian Stallion DHing Dominic Canzone. 5-3, Mariners lead. Yep, McLemore is another one. And obviously there's more opportunities in Washington and Seattle than there are in Oregon. Oregon is one of the hardest to be able to break through, out of any state, especially in, a certain type of genre of music as well, but again, my guy is really talented though. I mean, again, he can make music for commercials, for movies, for rappers, for singers. So, multi-talented. You just got to keep working. And Luke Raley gets hit there from JP France. We'll take that, and Luke makes his way to first. Let's go. JP France hits Luke Raley. We'll take that. And next up, second baseman Cole Young. Let's see if we can add on a little bit here in the bottom of the 7th. I really would love us to get to 7 or 8 runs before this one is over. First pitch, in there for a strike looking, 4-seam fastball, 91 miles an hour there by JP France, to Cole Young, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, and a hard hit ball up the middle. There we go. Nice job by Cole. Wow, look at Luke Raley's speed. Oh my goodness. And Luke gets to third easily. Wow. I don't know what kind of Wheaties he ate, but man, that might have been the fastest I've seen Luke Raley run ever. Holy cow. Nice job, Luke. Now we got runners at first and third with no outs. Nice job by Luke Raley. Nice job by Cole Young. And, nothing would make me happier than a Dominic Canzone 3-run blast right here. Let's go. I'll take an RBI single as well. Come on, Dom. Dominic Canzone, the Italian Stallion in the ball. Leo Rivas on deck. I mean, Raley always runs hard to first, when he's trying to beat out that, pop-up or ground ball, but from first to third, that might have been the fastest I've seen ever. Good for him. Timing was a little off in the box for him last year, and he started off hot with Canzone and has fizzled a little bit lately, but it looks like both guys are starting to kind of get back on track. Small ball is king, but we still haven't bunted yet, and I would like to see a bunt before the game is over. Like if Canzone bunts right here, it's not like he would probably bunt, but if he were to bunt, Rayleigh would probably be safe at home, depending on, where he placed the bunt, if he placed it towards first base. But based on how we've struggled this season, we're probably not going to be bunting until we get on to a better win streak. 0-2 pitch, and that ends up being fouled off towards first base. And you don't want to bunt with an 0-2 count either, so. But I like small ball. I love all the little intricacies of the game. Double plays, triple plays, bunting, things that, are kind of rare. But when you end up executing them, stealing bags, stealing second, stealing third, stealing home, Ooh, 0-2 pitch, hard hit ball. Yes, over his head. Go, go, go. Rayleigh scores. Go, Cole. Come on, baby. Let's go. 6-3 Mariners. Maybe the most enjoyable game that we've been able to watch here today. Let's go. Nice job by Canzone, doubling to right. Rayleigh scored. Young to third. Nice job, Dom. Italian Stallion comes up big. Next up is Leo Rivas. And my best friend and his dad are there. And again, I would have just been devastated if we would have been losing like 6-0 right now. He's going to the game tomorrow as well. But it's just it makes my heart full, knowing that he's been able to spend some time with his dad. His dad is kind of getting up there in age. And so, it's nice to be able to have those bonding moments. And it's always nice to finally see the Mariners play well, which we haven't seen that much, considering we're 4-9, going into this game. Wild pitch. Go, Cole. Safe at home. Let's go. 7-3 Mariners. I told you I wanted 8-3, and now we got 7-3. Let's go. Let's go. Hell yeah. Young scoring on that wild pitch, and that's been a common theme here today. Did it in the first inning, and we did it again. Let's go. Love it. And honestly, Mariner fans, we have been owed this. We were due, But again, when you play so bad, even going against a team that's been, poorly, been pitching, you just don't know. You pray and you hope that this is the game that you finally win and you finally break through. But nothing is guaranteed in baseball. And 3-0 pitch. And that ends up being a 4-pitch walk to Leo Rivas. But again, when you're a team that is a World Series contender, playoff contender, and you start off so badly, people want to second guess us and whatnot, but it's not like we've been bad pitching, hitting, and defense and bullpen. Imagine if we were, 0-12 right now, 0-13, then there's some really big concern, but, obviously still concern, being 4-9, but this could be the start of a nice win streak. Now we got runners at first and third with no outs. 7-3 Mariners. We might actually get to double digits today. JP Crawford hits a laser towards first base and foul. I would love for us to get to 10. Earlier I was just thinking, hey, if we can get to 8, that would be great. But in the bottom of the 7th with runners on the corners, 7-3 lead, we might be able to get to 10 or even more. Let's keep it going. Try to dance up. Let's go M's. And plus, regardless on record, it's always nice when you can do it against your rival, against the Astros. We hate them. They hate us. Rangers, we hate them. They hate us. Athletics, I don't think we have as much hate, because they're usually the underdog, but it's competitive. And then the Angels, we hate them. They hate us as well. So, anytime that you can end up winning against, teams like that in the division, or beating a team like the Blue Jays or the Tigers or the Yankees, where we've built up mini rivalries, or even playing a dominant team like the Dodgers in the National League, it makes you feel good when you can come out on the winning end. Pitch in there for a strike to JP. No balls and 2 strikes from JP France to JP Crawford. Come on, JP. 0-2 pitch, hard hit ball up the middle, and it skates through. Let's go. Another run scores. 8-3 Mariners. Let's go. Again, if anyone is deserving of this feeling that we're having right now, it's us. I mean, we went through some fucking misery, being 4-9. And again, this one feels good. Even Paisley wants to see what's going on. Nice job. Lay down. First pitch in there to Cal Raleigh for a strike, 0-1 count. And, we were just waiting for a meltdown. And thankfully in this game, we've gotten multiple meltdowns by multiple pitchers. And that hasn't happened to us at all this season. And it shows you, if we can get a meltdown, by a pitcher or two, we're good enough, to make shit happen. And obviously we know the Astros have been one of the worst pitching, teams. We're one of the worst hitting teams, but something has to give. And obviously our hitting is better than their pitching. And we're, taking advantage. And it's about goddamn time. Paisley's in here. She's loving it. Bottom of the 7th inning. Runners on the corners with no outs. 1-1 count to Cal Raleigh. 1-1 pitch in there for a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Let's go. Just got to take it one game at a time. See what we can do with La Piedra tomorrow. And then after that, we have Logan Gilbert and George Kirby. 1-2 pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and 2 strikes from JP France to Cal Raleigh. And if we win tomorrow, then we, start talking about, trying to win 3 out of 4. And then if we win the first 3, with obviously what we got with Emerson Hancock today, Luis Castillo, La Piedra tomorrow, Logan Gilbert, obviously on Monday. And then on, Tuesday, if we talk about George Kirby, who knows? Winning 2 out of 4 would be great, but 3 out of 4 or a sweep of 4 out of 4 could really give us the Uncle Mo and that momentum that we desperately need. Get closer to being a 500 team rather than being 5 games below 500. Bottom of the 7th inning, 8-3 Mariners. We haven't been able to say that very often. And we got a full count on the big dumper. And you don't even need to go for the home run swing here. Just get an RBI single. 3-2 pitch. And there it is. Diving throw. Gets Cal Raleigh. But a runner scores. 9-3 Mariners. Let's go. Let's go. Great job, Cal. And sometimes, just being able to adjust your swings, for a lot of the guys in the order, it's like home run swing, and it wasn't working. And now you're starting to see a lot of the guys just trying to get RBIs and single swings. And, those are going to get the job done, even though we want, the big Cal Raleigh home run, the big Julio home run, and eventually those will come. But great job here by Seattle. Probably the best game we've played all year. 9-3 so far here in the bottom of the 7th, and we're not done. Let's go. Trident's up. Oh, 1 pitch to Julio, low and away. No balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. Come on, Julio. Chance of Julio start coming through the crowd. 0-2 pitch, and that goes out of play. Sweeper 80 miles an hour there by JP France. Come on, Julio. 0-2 pitch, low and away. Curveball 76 miles an hour there by JP France. And we haven't had too many games that have been enjoyable to watch. It's been a lot of misery, to start off 4-9, one of the worst records the Mariners have had in the last 20 years. But we can definitely dig our way out of it. especially if we can end up winning this series and, winning 2 out of 4, 3 out of 4, or a sweep with 4 out of 4. 1-2 pitch. High and away. Good eye there by Julio. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 2-2 pitch, low and away. Good eye there by Julio. If that was last year or earlier in the season, he would have been, out with a big swing and a miss. But, especially when it ends up being way off the plate, you got to be better with the discipline there. And good discipline by Julio, at least on that last pitch. 3-2 pitch from JP France. Julio crushes it into left field. Oh, foul. Damn it. And Julio says, fuck. That could have been a big RBI, and that would have gotten us to 10. That runner from second would have scored. Xavier in the building. What's good? Trident's up. Yeah, I got my best friend and his dad that are there today and tomorrow. And again, if we can get a game like this and a game like this tomorrow, it'll be a great weekend for my best friend Justin, and he deserves it. And again, I want him to be able to spend as much time with his dad as possible. Both of our dads are kind of getting up there in age, so it's always great bonding time. And much better, when the Mariners are playing well and they win, rather than going to 2 games, driving 3.5 hours and then getting your ass kicked in 2 games. So far, so good. 3-2 pitch from JP France to Julio Rodriguez. Count is full. 3-2 pitch, and that is strike 3 looking. Julio can't believe it. And that is 2 away. Curveball, 75 miles an hour off speed, caught Julio off guard. Next up in the 4-hole, first baseman Josh Naylor. But I went from T-Mobile background to the Safeco background, decided to go with all City Connect photos, give us a little spark. And the Mariners have definitely brought that spark here today. First pitch, big swing and a miss, low and away. Curveball, 76 miles an hour there by JP France, 0-1 count. Bottom of the 7th inning, runner at second with 2 outs. Mariners in control, 9-3. But, as we know, all it takes is one guy in the bullpen to have a meltdown and they can catch up. We were up 3-0, and then it ended up being 3-3 like 5 minutes later. It ain't over until it's over. 0-1 pitch, and looks like that got more of the barrel rather than Naylor's arm. No balls and 2 strikes to Nails, Josh Naylor. Yeah, I'll give you a quick recap once we get the last out here, Hawks. I'll go through the whole rundown from the beginning of the game to where we're at. JP France on the mound. Naylor in the box. 0-2 pitch, crushes it into left field, out of play. Curveball, 76 miles an hour by France. No balls and 2 strikes with a runner at second and 2 outs. Mariners 9, Astros 3. And again, we haven't had very many games even above 5 runs this season, and it definitely feels very good at this point, in firm control, but it's not over yet. 0-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and down goes Josh Naylor, and that is out number 3. All right, let's do a quick recap for anyone that's tuning in or had to go run errands and figure something out. So we got 9 runs, 8 hits, no errors, which is great. No errors today. 3 runs, 5 hits, no errors. So it all started in the first inning where we had a meltdown, right, by Totsuya Imai. Totsuya Imai, 1-0 record with an ERA of 4.32. He had an absolute meltdown, and JP Crawford and many others ended up getting walked, and we had bases loaded, but JP Crawford scored, Rodriguez to second, Raleigh to third on a wild pitch by Imai, and then that started off a 1-0 lead. Then Orosarena was hit by a pitch. Cal Raleigh scored 2-0. Then Rayleigh grounded out to second. Julio scored 3-0. So we ended up getting that pitcher to go out in the first inning, and we felt pretty good. But then Emerson Hancock had a little bit of a mini meltdown. They had bases loaded, and then Christian Vasquez doubled to left. Correa, Paredes, and Christian Walker all scored. It made me just lose want me to pull my hair out, because obviously we were one strike away from getting out of the inning. And then that hard hit ball went as a ground ball to Randy. And we know what happens when it goes to Randy. It's usually not good for ground balls. And then it ended up being 3-3. And then in the 5th inning, Randy Orosarena ended up giving us some magic, hit one into the upper deck, right? And we had Josh Naylor on board, 426 feet, one of the longest homers of the season, upper deck homer, 5-3 Mariners. Then, here in the 7th inning, if you're just tuning in, Dominic Canzone ended up doubling to right, and Luke Raley scored. So then it ended up being 6-3 Mariners. Then Cole Young scored with France with a wild pitch, 7-3 Mariners. Crawford singled to center, Canzone scored, 8-3 Mariners. And then Cal Raleigh grounded out to second, Rivas scored, 9-3 Mariners. So we've only had one big home run, but we've been very efficient here today, and it feels good. We're on a 5-game losing streak. The Astros are on a 4-game losing streak, but that losing streak is about to end here in a few minutes. Let's see who's up next here for the Astros in the top of the 8th inning. Next up for the Astros, 1 for 2 with 3 ribbies and a K, Christian Vasquez. Batting second, shortstop Jeremy Pena. And batting third in the 2-hole, left fielder Yordan Alvarez. And we're 5 subs away from 23,700. We got 186 in the room. So if we can get 5 people up to 86, we're going to end up hitting that goal. I got you, my guy. And we got Cole Wilcox in the game, who's been, decent when he's had an opportunity to come in. And he was the guy that we actually brought up from AAA for Carlos Vargas, who ended up getting re-injured in his rehab. And we're not going to have him for quite some time, which might be a good thing because he really wasn't very good for us. I mean, he could pitch 97 to 100, but he had no location and he would lose us more games than win. So I don't know if maybe that's a good thing, but hopefully when Vargas comes back, as well as Bryce Miller, hopefully we get good versions of them. 1-1 pitch. High and away, sweeper 86 miles an hour by Cole Wilcox. 2 balls and 1 strike to Christian Vasquez. 2-1 pitch. Takes a strike, looking right down the middle. Sinker 97 miles an hour by Cole Wilcox. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Christian Vasquez. Top of the 8th inning, 9-3 Mariners with nobody on and no outs. Man, it feels good to say that. 9-3. 2-2 pitch, hard hit ball to center field, and it bloops right in front of Julio Rodriguez. Kind of been a common theme. And I know Rick Riz is fucking loving it on the radio side. And the season is dedicated to Riz as well as Dave Niehaus. We're going to win it for them. Vasquez is doing a good job here today, trying to keep his team as close as possible. He's responsible for all 3 runs. Next up, leadoff hitter 0 for 3 with a K, Jeremy Pena. First pitch takes a strike, looking high, but in the zone with the slider, 87 miles an hour. 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, fouled off. Sinker, 97 miles an hour there by Jeremy Pena. No balls and 2 strikes from Wilcox to Pena. Top of the 8th inning, 9-3 Mariners with a runner at first and no outs. Hard hit ball toward third base and another base knock here on Cole Wilcox. And now we got runners at first and second with no outs. Come on, Mariners. Finish strong. Next up is Yordan Alvarez. And we don't need Yordan to hit a 3-run blast and, give them a little bit of hope here late. We got to find a way to get a strikeout and a double play, or a double play and a strikeout. We've already gotten 2 great double plays today. And I know it's asking a lot from the sports gods, but can we get one more? One more here in the 8th. We won't ask for one in the 9th, but we need one more strikeout double play or double play strikeout, and I hope we can get it. 1-0 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Damn, he was going for a moonshot there. 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour by Cole Wilcox. 1 ball and 1 strike to Yordan Alvarez. I miss Dave Niehaus. Oh, shit. Hard hit ball. Deep right field. And it's gone. Damn you, Jordan. I had a feeling, that's why I said it, that he was going to homer. And just like that, there it is. And now the game is 9-6 instead of 9-3. And again, I wouldn't have brought in Cole Wilcox, and that's on Dan Wilson. You know, I would have rather had some of our better guys go a little bit longer. And again, if you're going to go down the middle on Jordan Alvarez, Mariner fans, we're very familiar. You know, Robbie Ray will never forget. And just like that, when you have a 6-run lead with one swing and a couple bad pitches in the inning, and now they're creeping a little bit closer. We're still in control. But again, it makes you a little nervous. Next up is Jose Altuve. You know, it would have been nicer to have, Bizzardo go 2 or Spire go 2 or, some of these other guys instead of just going 1, especially when you're in firm control. But obviously we have a long series, a 4-game set instead of a 3-game set, and unfortunate, but again, remember, Cole Wilcox is a AAA pitcher, but he should have known better. Just because you're up, 9-3 doesn't mean that you're invincible. 0-1 pitch. Takes a strike looking high and inside with a sweeper, 88 miles an hour. No balls and 2 strikes to Jose Altuve. But I don't feel any more home runs for the Astros. And we got Brash warming up. And, even if you have to go Brash and then obviously Mooney, maybe you should have went with Brash this inning. That would have been the smart thing to do, right? But Dan Wilson ain't the brightest light bulb in the bunch. You should have went Brash, then Mooney. Why are you putting in Cole Wilcox? Take advantage. We're on a fucking 5-game losing streak. Little dribbler, throw to first, and just in time. That is one away. And I feel like that type of managing, is, it's lazy, and it also puts you in a position to lose. And again, it's like, yeah, you don't want to use everyone, but if you already use Bizzardo and you use Spire, why the fuck are you bringing in some jobber AAA pitcher when you could just go the normal rotation? Bizzardo. I mean, if Ferrer isn't going to play and you already had, Bizzardo and Spire, go Brash and then fucking Mooney, and then maybe we win 9-3. But instead, you bring in a guy that's a AAA guy and, hopefully Dan Wilson will learn that, he's one of those guys that continues to kind of do stupid things over and over, like putting Rob Refsnyder as a leadoff hitter. And, eventually he'll get it going. Well, when he goes 0 for 30, and then you finally decide that, maybe we should put Julio or JP or someone else or keep Brandon Donovan as the leadoff hitter, no matter if it's lefty or righties. It's like, at some point you got to learn. And we've gone through this with Scott Service as well, not the brightest light bulb, in the bunch, but managers typically like to, kind of keep things the same and hope that the players figure it out. But great managers don't do that. They make adjustments. And Paredes' first pitch there from Cole Wilcox is a ball, 1-0 count. One-0 pitch, popped up, and behind the plate, out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike from Wilcox to Paredes. Come on now, finish strong. It would have been much better winning 9-3 or potentially 10-3, and again, just sucks, when you want the win so bad and you want kind of style points for winning against your rival. And fucking A. Hits him. Pull him now. Like, what are you doing? And you hit him on the arm there, and everything was just going great. And like I said, all it takes is one pitcher to fuck everything up momentum-wise, It's like, how long are you going to keep this guy in? Why until the game is tied 9-9, and then we might lose? Like, make the fucking change already. And he gets hit on the forearm there. Next up is Christian Walker. On deck is Carlos Correa. Brash should have already been in. This was stupid to even bring in Wilcox. You bring Wilcox in a different game, not this game. That's getting, too cocky when you're up 9-3, thinking that there's no way we're going to lose. And then you bring in some shitty guy that's a AAA pitcher pitching right down the middle after, walking a couple guys or giving up a couple base knocks. And then all of a sudden Alvarez hits a 3-run blast. Like, I hope Dan learns from this. You need to learn from your mistakes. You should have went Brash and then Mooney. and then maybe we win 9-3, 10-3, 11-3. But no, you make a mistake and you have to pay for it. And, and obviously it still feels like we're going to win, but there's still a chance, if, things go a little sideways that the Astros could catch up even more. So let's try to win. Let's not give the game fucking away. I mean, we're on a 5-game losing streak. Wake up, Dan, you fucking idiot. Top of the 8th inning, 9-6 Seattle. But I will say this, Dan is better than Scott Service. Right, Scott Service was even worse than what Dan does, and Dan's not the greatest manager out there, obviously being a former catcher and, player. And obviously we rooted for him, with Randy Johnson and, getting a lot of those big, games back, in the 90s and whatnot and in the 2000s. But, these have to be learning moments, because there are going to be times where you make that mistake and then the other team comes back and we lose and it's just going to rip our hearts out. Especially when we put up fucking 9, like how often do the Mariners put up a 9 this season? Like never. So, and now we got Brash coming into the game, and that should have been the pitcher that you should have initially brought in the 8th. Brash coming in, who normally is our number 1 or number 2 with Eduard Bizardo. And he's not perfect. Sometimes he's human and he fucks up, gives up a home run or an RBI or hits a couple guys, walks a couple guys. But let's get the good version of Matt Brash. We already had the meltdown by Cole Wilcox, pulling a fucking Carlos Vargas, who's the guy that he got called up for. So essentially, same result, different player. And hopefully we don't have any more fucking meltdowns. We can't afford to. Matt Brash on the mound, who should have started the 8th, and maybe we would have still been up by 6. First pitch in there for a strike to Christian Walker, 0-1 count. Give me a double play, slow dribbler up the middle, unless you can get back-to-back Ks, which would be nice as well. Oh, 1 pitch. Check swing. Did he go? No, he did not. Pitches low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Brash to Christian Walker. It's like when you lose so much, you forget what you need to do to win games, especially if you're going to go through your best guys in the pen with, Spire and Bizardo and Brash and Mooney. You win with those guys, right? Sometimes we'll fuck up and we'll lose, but more times than not, if the starting pitching is good and then you end up having Bizardo, Spire, Brash, and then Mooney, 9 times out of 10, if it's on, we're winning. Little dribbler, double play, throw to first. Got him! Let's go! You ask for the double play, you get the double play. And again, we won't need one, obviously, as we go to the 9th inning. But again, great job there. 3rd double play. And again, nice job by Matt Brash. And imagine if Brash would have came in, maybe that would have happened and we win 9-3 or 10-3 or 11-3. But Yordan Alvarez, I see you. But we still got a 3-run lead, 9-6. Let's go to the bottom of the 8th, and let's see if we can get to 10. Let's see if we can get that nice double-digit number. And I wouldn't mind to get another home run or RBI before this one is over. Nice job by Matt Brash. Great job by the Seattle Mariner defense as well, who's been pretty damn good this year. The only thing that's been kind of piss poor is the hitting. But even the hitting is starting to come around, at least today, and hopefully it'll carry over till tomorrow with La Piedra on the mound, Luis Castillo. Next up for the Mariners, 2 for 3 with a run, 3 RBIs, a big 2-run blast. They're in the 5th inning, Arandy Arozarena. Batting second, 0 for 3 with a run, RBI, and 2 Ks, right fielder Luke Raley. And batting third, 1 for 2 with a run, 2 base on balls, and a K, second baseman Cole Young. Tridents up, let's go M's. And this is, if we end up winning this game, this will be the most satisfying win of the year, considering the 5-game losing streak. 23,695 subs. We need 5 subs to go to 23,700. And we're at 147 likes. 3 more to get to 150. If you're in the room and haven't smashed that like button yet, you have 189 in the room. If we can end up getting 3 more, that would be great. Well, swearing is a part of life, you know. Bottom of the 8th inning, 9-6 Seattle. Let's go. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. De Los Santos makes his way here. Eniel De Los Santos. First pitch is low and away. 1-0 count. De Los Santos. 1-0 pitch. Fouled off behind the plate by Randy Arozarena. 1 ball and 1 strike with nobody on and no outs. Bottom of the 8th inning. 9-6 Mariners. Come on, Randy. One pitch, big swing and a miss there by Arozarena. Slider 84 miles an hour by De Los Santos. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Bottom of the 8th, 9-6 Mariners. 1-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. Down goes Randy, and that is 1 away. Captain in the building, what's good? Good to see you, my guy. Next up in the 6th hole, right fielder Luke Raley. 0 for 3 with a run, an RBI, and 2 Ks. Let's go, Luke. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. First pitch from De Los Santos to Luke Raley. Low and at the knees. 1-0 count. You know, and we're used to having meltdowns with our starters and our guys in the pen from time to time, but we really haven't had too many, you know, meltdowns from the other team, you know, besides today, and it feels good, and we've taken advantage. 1-0 pitch, Luke hits it into the gap, fall, yes, all the way back to the Nintendo sign. Go, Luke, go. And a stand-up double by Luke Raley, my man. There we go. And we know Luke Raley's timing sometimes is off in the box, but he sure as hell sprints and hustles, and I can respect that. Randy, pay attention. Next up, in the 7th hole, second baseman, second best hitter on the team, the best defender, the best overall player, offense and defense, Cole Young. Let's go, Cole. And I can't wait for his buddy, Colt Emerson, to get the call up whenever that may be. Colt is going to be a real big fan favorite like Cole Young. You know, having Cole and Colt in the infield is just going to be amazing. No disrespect to JP Crawford or Leo Rivas, you know, filling in those positions from time to time. But, man, it's going to be exciting. First pitch, big swing and a miss by Cole Young, low and away. 0-1 count. 271 average, 2 homers, and 8 ribbies for Cole Young. 2 walks, a single, and a run. Little dribbler towards first. Toe tap on the bag by Walker, and that is 2 away. Raley hustles to third. He's got great speed for a bigger guy. And it's just heart. It's hustle, you know? Like, does this game mean something to you or not, you know? And for some guys, you know, they're thinking about what's for dinner. I need to go have a drink. Who am I hanging out with? But you can definitely tell, even when Luke Raley struggles, he gives it his all, and I can respect that. Next up is the Italian stallion, Dominic Canzone. First pitch to Canzone from De Los Santos is low and away. 1-0 count. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 1-0 pitch popped up. Should be a routine play here in shallow center field for Houston. And that is out number 3. We leave 1 stranded, but we've gotten 3 double plays today. Pitching overall has been great besides Cole Wilcox, and it just feels really, really good. We're on the cusp here with our guy, Andres Munoz, to come out here, and hopefully he'll be able to strike out the side or something close to that, and then we can end up getting this victory and get off the losing streak and start a winning streak. Let's go. I got to get the photo here for our guy, Andres Munoz, one of the best closers in the game. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 200 likes. 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. Let's go, baby. And we've, had Edwin Diaz, who ended up going to the Mets and now is on the Dodgers. We've had, Seawald and obviously Mooney with that 1-2 combo. And now, we obviously have Bizardo and Brash and Spire and Mooney. So it's like, we've always been pretty good pitching wise. It's just about being consistent. And more times than not, this guy is going to get the job done. Now, there has been times early in his career, like in this photo I'm about to show you, right? Pre-beard Mooney, obviously there was some moments where he was a little shaky, but again, we love Andres Munoz, and it always makes it exciting when you have a guy as a closer that you trust. And not many teams can say that. Top of the 9th inning, 9-6 Mariners. And we got to throw 4 photos up of Mooney because that's how much we love him. All the photos for Mooney. White jersey, cream jersey, gray jersey, and we'll even give you the blue. Let's go. Bring that electricity, Andres Munoz. Bring back these Seattle grays. I really miss the gray uniforms. Let's get this first save of the year, baby. Which is a crazy thing to say, but when you're 4-9, there's a reason why he hasn't been able to have the opportunity. Carlos Correa in the box. First pitch right down the middle for a strike, and that's kind of the tall tale sign with Andres Munoz, is that first at-bat, first 3 pitches. If it ends up being wild, high and away, low and away, we're in trouble typically, and it ends up continuing to batter 2, batter 3, batter 4. But if he can get a strike within the first 3 pitches, usually it's a good sign that, good things are going to come, maybe a strikeout, pop up and a ground out, and there's always a chance he retires the side with strikeouts. That's best case scenario. But at the end of the day, just get the 3 outs. 0-1 pitch, high and inside, gets Correa to jump away from the plate there. 4-seam fastball, 99 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike to Carlos Correa. 1-1 pitch, just gets a little tip. And again, 2 out of the first 3 pitches right down the middle. And sometimes that'll turn into a home run or a big hit. But again, when he's on, you feel it. And it definitely feels like he's on here after sitting, for 3 hours plus, which is a hard thing to do, to come into a game and be lights out. But this is Andres Munoz. Pitch is low and away. Good job by Cal by scooping up that wild pitch. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Carlos Correa. I like the steelhead unis. I mean, I think like haters and people that are on the outside looking in will be like, those are ugly. But I like every uniform that we have, honestly. There's just some that are a little better than others. 2-2 pitch. Got him! Let's go. Down goes Carlos Correa. Nasty. Nice job by Mooney. Bringing that electricity, baby. And that is 1 away. Next up is Cam Smith. First pitch is low and away with a slider. 87 miles an hour. 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch. Popped up. Should be a routine play here for Seattle. Deep left field, Randy is there, and that is 2 away. Now, Randy on ground balls, not so much. Randy on pop-ups, I would say 95% trustworthy, and thankfully that was a pop-up. Nice job there by Randy Arosarena. That is 2 away. Let's go. And last but not least, 8-hole hitter, center fielder, Joey Loperfido. And again, my best friend and his dad are at T-Mobile for the first time this season, and they'll be there tomorrow as well. And I'm so proud of this Seattle team. Wild pitch there by Andres Munoz to Loperfido. 1-0 count. Settle down. Come on, Mooney. Top of the 9th. Nobody on with 2 outs. 9-6 Mariner lead. Should have been 9-3 if we didn't bring in Cole Wilcox and give up that fucking cheap 3-run blast by Yordan Alvarez. But still, a win is a win, right? 1-0 pitch. High and away. 2 balls and no strikes to Joey Loperfido. Settle down. 2-0 pitch. Woo! Right down the middle, outside. Just a tad. And we get a challenge here by Cal. And hopefully this ends up being a strike here instead of a 3-0 count. Let's look. Just outside. Damn it. All right, we lose the challenge. First one that we've lost today. We've been actually pretty good in the box and on the mound. First 3-0 count here for Andres Munoz. Let's see if we can get a cheap pop-up or ground out here. 3-0 pitch. Takes a strike looking. Good pitch there. 4-seam fastball, triple digits, 100 miles an hour. 3 balls and 1 strike to Joey Loperfido. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. 3-1 pitch and another strike. Woo! Count is full. 4-seam fastball, triple digits again. High, but in the zone. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Count is full with nobody on and 2 outs. Top of the 9th inning. 9-6 Mariners. 5-game losing streak for Seattle. 4-game losing streak for Houston. Hard hit ball towards third base and foul. Count still remains 3 balls and 2 strikes to Joey Loperfido. Come on, baby. Strike his ass out. 3-2 pitch. Popped up and foul. Come on, Mooney. Three-two pitch and doesn't get the call. And that ends up being a walk. Come on, Andres Munoz. Taylor Trammell coming in. First pitch, high and away, 4-seam fastball, triple digits here. And you can feel the pressure is on. You know, we've definitely have not played to our potential to start the year, you know, and there's, you know, that kind of anxiety, like we just want to finish this, right? And obviously sometimes you just got to take a step back. Instead of maybe throwing triple digits, go a little bit lower, you know, somewhere in that 90 to 95 and just try to find that location, you know, instead of just trying to throw, you know, through the hitter and throw in triple digits, which is great if you can end up getting 3 strikes. But, you know, if you start throwing wild, you know, one guy gets walked and then another guy gets a hit and then another guy gets a walk. And then all of a sudden, you know, the game might be tied or close to that. So, you know, let's just settle down, settle in, and let's see if we can end up getting this final out so we can end our losing streak. One 0 pitch, high and away, and Mooney starting to lose a little bit of his control here. 2 balls and no strikes from Mooney to Taylor Trammell. Come on, baby, settle down. 2-0 pitch. Low and away. Count now is 3 balls and no strikes from Munoz to Trammell. Come on, Mooney. You did so well in the first couple batters. You're losing it here. 3-0 pitch. Finally a strike right down the middle. 3 balls and 1 strike from Munoz to Trammell. Jeremy Pena on deck, and that's a, you know, hitter that, you know, even if he goes 0 for 4, you know, typically doesn't go 0 for 5 often. 3-1 pitch and another walk. Fucking A, Mooney. God, why so much dramatics here for Seattle? Jesus. Settle down, settle in, Mooney. And now we got Jeremy Pena, and then Yordan Alvarez is on deck, and we don't want this game to get to Yordan Alvarez. We've worked so hard to get that 9-3 lead that got erased to 9-6 by Cole Wilcox. And now Andres Munoz. We only need 1 more out, but you got runners now at first and second. Come on, Seattle. Pull it together. He's off now. Pitches low and away to Jeremy Pena, 1-0 count. If the Astros just don't swing at all, we're going to keep getting guys on base. But hopefully they'll get a little greedy and swing at some garbage so we can actually win this game. But Mooney doesn't not have his control anymore or location. 1-0 pitch, almost hits Pena inside. 2 balls and no strikes from Munoz to Pena. Jesus Christ. Come on, Munoz. Jesus. Please. 2-0 pitch. Just gets a little piece. 2 balls and 1 strike to Jeremy Pena. Gosh, man, it's just so dramatic with this team. It's never fucking easy. Even when you have a 9-3 lead, gets erased to 9-6, and now they're on the brink of getting close to tying it up. Come on. Two 2-1 pitch. There we go. That was a good pitch. Pitch in there for a strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jeremy Pena. Pop up, ground out, strike out. I don't give a damn how it goes down, but please get this final batter out. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Come on. 2-2 pitch. Hard hit ball towards third base. Toe tap on the bag. Man, that's dramatic as hell right there. Mooney started off strong, started to lose it. Fireworks come out. Leo Rivas, toe tap on the bag just in time. And again, if that was a throw to first, I don't know if he gets it. But luckily, they had guys at first and second, so all we had to do is just run to third base, and we actually got the job done. Oh, man. What a great, great game overall. Final score, Mariners 9, Astros 6. And you know what happens when the Mariners win. We dance. Let me see if I can get a good photo here up. Oh, man. Gosh. Congratulations, Mariner fans. We did it. It wasn't easy, but we got the job done. Final score, Seattle Mariners 9, Houston Astros 6. And when the Mariners win, what do? We fucking dance. Mariners win. Mariners win. Mariners win. Trident's up. Let's go. All right, let's go over the stats here quickly before we go. Five-game losing streak is over. My best friend and his dad are there. They're going to be there tomorrow, and maybe they're the good luck charm that the Seattle Mariners needed. All right, let's go over the stat line here real quick. So Hancock gets the win, 2-1 record now. Mooney obviously gets the save, even though he almost blew it. So let's take a look at the stat line overall. We'll go through the Astros first, and we know Rick Riz is loving it. All right, Jeremy Pena, 1 for 5. Yordan Alvarez, 2 for 3, and had that big 3-run blast to make it 9-6 rather than 9-3 off Cole Wilcox. And Altuve, 0 for 4, which is not something that happens often, but we'll take it. Isaac Paredes there going 1 for 2. Christian Walker, 0 for 3. Carlos Correa, 1 for 4. Cam Smith, 0 for 4. Joey Loperfido, 1 for 3. And then Christian Vazquez, 2 for 3. And then let's go with the Mariner players. All right, we got J.P. Crawford, 1 for 3. Cal Raleigh, 0 for 3. Julio Rodriguez, 1 for 5. Josh Naylor, 1 for 4. And the MVP of the game, Randy Arozarena, going 2 for 4 with that big 2-run blast in the 5th to give us the lead, which was great. Luke Raley, 1 for 4. Cole Young, 1 for 3. Dominic Canzone, 1 for 4. And Leo Rivas, 1 for 2. So Cal Raleigh was the only one that didn't get a hit in the game. So thankfully we were able to get the job done. And then obviously Emerson Hancock, 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks, 88 pitches, 56 strikes, 2.04 ERA. And he was good besides the 1 inning where he gave up 3 in the 2nd inning when we had a 3-0 lead after we had a lucky meltdown by Totsuya Imai. And thankfully, you know, he had a 1-0 record coming into the game with a 4.32, but we ended up getting him out in the 1st inning, thank God, and getting a nice 3-0 lead. And again, this feels good. We haven't had too many, like celebration moments on the channel this year, considering we were 4-9, but now we're 5-9. We're getting closer to 500, and we got 3 more games against the Astros. So let's take it one game at a time. We got Luis Castillo, La Piedra on the mound tomorrow, a 6:40 start, and then we got 2 afternoon games on Sunday and Monday. And hopefully we'll be able to get the job done. And hopefully by, Tuesday, we'll be talking about a sweep by the Seattle Mariners, or maybe 3 out of 4. So it definitely feels good. I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very much. Tridents up. Let's go M's. And this one is probably the most rewarding, and it feels the best out of any win that we've had so far, considering, how the season has gone. And on a 5-game losing streak, they were on a 4, and then we finally snapped it. And this one feels good, even though we almost lost it there by Mooney late. So Hancock with the win, Mooney with the save, Weiss with the loss. Final score, Seattle Mariners 9, Houston Astros 6. And again, I will be live tomorrow for the second game in the set. And I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very much. Shout out to Vapor with a $50 dono. Shout out to Logan with a $5. Shout out to Sathis with a $2. Shout out to Alec with a $5. Appreciate you guys very much. And if you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do on your way out. And this one feels really, really good. And I know for Mariner fans, it feels good for you guys as well. Appreciate you guys very much for all the people that came through to show some love on the channel. And again, final score, Mariners 9, Astros 6. And I got one question for you. Who talks sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Tridents up, and I am out. Go Mariners, Tridents up. Let's get it.